6:04, Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you. JP producing. We're starting you off at 65 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge, coming to you live from the 180 Pro Studios. 180 Pros, your business's IT partner. We've got a busy show for you. Franz is out today. He's halfway around the world, gallivanting all over France. Richard Sprinkle's going to be in for Legally Served. A lot of ground to cover within there, and we're going to talk about some judges doing wrong things, and it's going to be a jam-packed segment. Also on the show today, we got Tim Temple. Also on the show today, Fox News' Brett Baier. I'll give you the full rundown in just a little bit, but let's start off with top stories and trending. Pew, pew, pew. Zip. Ooh.
Number 5.
The city of St. George will take over public works operations, maintenance, and citizen services support within the city's limits at the start of November. Officials at Mayor Dustin Yates' office said this yesterday. St. George will continue to use East Baton Rouge Parish's 311 system until that date as well.
Number 4.
As cleanup continues in Roseland and surrounding areas in the wake of the August explosion at Smitty Supply, a courtroom trial attorney said around 3,000 people submitted claims for a class action lawsuit against the company. Trial specialist and courtroom trial attorney Louis Unglesby told our news partners over at WBRZ that more than 20 law firms are working on the suit and said the damage goes beyond the initial explosion. Y'all know the part of the story we've been tracking down the Tangipahoa River from Smitty's all the way out to Lake Pontchartrain. So, yeah, expect that 3,000 number to really go up.
Number 3.
55-year-old Henry Ray Thomas was booked for murder following the shooting death of 53-year-old Huey Saunier on Calumet Street back on June 18th, BRPD said. Thomas is currently in the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison on an unrelated charge. That made things convenient.
Number 2.
LSU issued new guidance on pregame partying ahead of football games yesterday. We're going to have a little bit more on that coming up in our trending stories.
Number 1.
Maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour. Tropical storm Melissa is out there. She's moving west-northwest at about 7 miles per hour through the Caribbean right now. Here's the thing. Going to be some jumbled movement on this and some steering currents that make it difficult to predict where Melissa's actually going to head. By the way, if there is another named storm during this hurricane season, the next one up is Nestor. What you got, Jim? Nestor.
Oof.
Yes.
Watch out.
Now, that's the one I was a little worried about from the start. Because normally you worry about a female storm. Right? All the worst storms, well, I should say most of the worst storms have been Katrina, Rita, Betsy, Camille, Laura. But, I mean, we had, what was the one a couple years ago? It was Ike? Is that the one?
I don't know.
I might be misremembering. But normally it's the female name storms, and that's just pure coincidence.
Yeah.
That's like letting ChatGPT pick your lottery numbers.
There you go.
It's just pure coincidence. But this one, no, when back at the beginning of the season when they were predicting it to be well above average and all that other good stuff, you get to about MNO, and Nestor was going to be Nasty Nestor. Nasty Nestor.
Ooh.
But I don't think it's going to happen now. So
that's good news.
Yeah.
You know what else is good news? Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel. He's calling the progress in Gaza better than anticipated, but points out that challenges remain. To be expected, right? I mean,
of course.
2 years
There's going to be
before.
challenges. There's going to be challenges along the way. Here's the thing, though. We're going to break this down news cycle by news cycle, and it's something that you have to take a long-term approach at.
Oh, for sure.
It's not a day-to-day thing.
Absolutely.
Because both sides are going to act up along the way. It's whether or not an overall peace can be kept.
Yeah, time will tell, Brian. Time will tell.
Ha-ha! Janet Simmons from Breck just texted, who, by the way, she's coming up at 7:35.
Yep.
Ivan and Michael. Were two male name storms. So.
Oh, okay. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, a man was taken into custody last night after driving his car into a security barrier outside the White House just after 10:30. Man,
Can't wait to learn more about this as the sun comes up.
Yeah. So, of course, he was arrested. The vehicle was assessed and deemed safe, meaning I guess there were no weapons involved or anything like that, no explosives.
We don't know until we know, right?
Yeah. According to their, I guess, a tweet by the Secret Service Office of Communications was put out. That's what they said. The individual was arrested and the vehicle was assessed and deemed safe. So
he just hit the fence?
Yeah. Their investigation into the cause of this collision is ongoing. So
okay,
get down to the bottom of that. Oof. In other news, tighter game day restrictions kick in this week.
So this is going to be the shutting down the roads, like the major roads, at 2:30 in the afternoon, 4 hours before kickoff. Wow. Like, yeah. It's going to put the kibosh on a lot.
Ooh.
So I know it's necessary. You don't want to see it because it is the greatest game day environment in the history of man.
Right.
We do it better than anybody else out there.
For sure.
But you got to have some kind of restriction when people start shooting people.
That's right. Unfortunately. But nonetheless, this kicks in this week.
Yep, I hear you. Vex European, VexEuropean.com is their website. You'll find them on Benefit Drive. That's on the backside of Industriplex. Vex European specializes in maintenance and repair of European vehicles, okay? If you drive a BMW, if you drive a Mercedes-Benz, if you drive a Jaguar, specifically Jaguar, y'all, the dealership closed down a couple months ago. You're not left in the lurch here. You have an expert-level technician here to fix your Jaguar. Go to the website, VexEuropean.com. That's V as in Vinny, VexEuropean.com, and look at the drop-down tab where it says Vehicles. If yours is on there, you know you'll be taken care of. And my favorite part about it is the teamwork. From the moment you walk through the door, everybody, you're greeted with a smile. You're taken care of right away. They know you and your vehicle, like the same way your chart follows you at your doctor's office. That's how Vex European handles your vehicle throughout the life of your vehicle. So learn a little bit more at VexEuropean.com. Oh, don't forget this. Before you make your appointment, hit that little specials tab. See if we can't save you $100 on your first visit over at Vex European. Okay. Hello. Good morning. I know it looks different in here this morning. We have gotten to the point where I am so white. These are the links they have to go to in order to light me. So, yeah. Yeah. So. Oh, you haven't been here since that? Oh, damn, you're not around enough, man. That's been out there a while. Oh.
You got me at just the right time. I go out of town tomorrow.
Oh, well then.
Yeah, perfect.
Franz is in. I saw he was at Lord's yesterday.
Must be good to be king.
No kings. We're going to start with Southern and then go to the Pelicans.
Okay.
I like I have a much better angle on the recycling bin now because the little cabinet would always get in the way, which you're not going to be able to see that cabinet at all now, are you? It's just basically back there in the dark.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Oh, you want to get really crazy? Oh, where'd all my beads go that had the lineups? Come on, where's my Washington Mardi Gras shit?
That's when they came in to clean up a little bit. It's like, just leave it alone. The shelf is fine.
Can you see anything in the background? Oh, no.
No. Look, move toward the screen. There you go. Now I got you. But yeah, you won't be able to see.
You won't be able to see it.
Leave it dangling from the corner or something.
Christmas lights, the whole thing would just be really friggin' tacky.
You put a couple of uplights in the bottom corners, just give something.
Maybe like one right there.
I want to get rid of the black backdrop.
But we just need to adjust those.
And
it's ultimately going to come down to we have to buy a better camera. Ultimately, that's what it's going to come down to. But our operations manager is exploring every option before that, so she can firmly walk into our CFO's office and say, "I need it. We've tried everything." So Michelle's pretty awesome. She does her homework.
she does all the work. Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original Prep Football Report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, and check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m. It's Ken Trahan's original Prep Football Report, presented locally by Dr. Pepper and the Harold Perkins Jr. tuition program right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Before we get you into our sports segment, I do want to give you the full rundown of guests. Richard Sprinkle's going to be in for Legally Served coming up in our next segment all the way through the top of the hour. Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple at 7:15. We check in with Breck and Janet Simmons at 7:35. Dr. James Gilmore is going to hop in the studio at 8:15 along with Zach Kilshaw. We're going to talk Thrive right there. Thrive EBR, which is and is not on your ballot coming up next month. But I want to break this down from a stakeholder standpoint, and Dr. Gilmore could talk about it from the library and the Council on Aging's perspective. And then we'll wrap up our guest list with Fox News' Brett Baier, who's got a great new book out that I can't wait to talk about. Right now, though, it is sports time. And, oh, man, where do we want to start here? I kind of want to start with the Pelicans, but it would be irresponsible not to start with Southern University. Southern named former Alcorn State head coach and current co-offensive coordinator Fred McNair as the interim head coach. McNair, by the way, is the older brother of the late NFL quarterback Steve McNair. He says he's looking forward to helping turn things around for the rest of this season.
I embraced the opportunity to be here. Been in this position before, but not stepping in as an interim. But this is a great opportunity for us and this coaching staff and these young men that we are coaching each and every day to press forward, to finish this season very strong, just give each other an opportunity to be successful at the end.
By the way, while he was at Alcorn State, McNair had a record of 48-33. Going to make his debut as the interim head coach on Saturday when the Jags take on FAMU, Florida A&M. McNair says the goal this week is to get back into the win column.
These young men, they need to see people in the stand. Regardless of wins and losses, we don't go out there to lose ball games. We go out there with the intention to win each and every one of them. So I just encourage them to stay focused on us and give us an opportunity to come back on Saturday, be attentive. We've got a good ball team coming in FAMU. We're going to try to win.
Jaguars go into that game 1-6 overall. We're going to talk a lot more about LSU tomorrow and Friday as the weekend approaches. But tonight, we do need to look forward to the NBA season is upon us, and the Pelicans are back at it, beginning their season as they travel to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. Head coach Willie Green expecting big things from Zion Williamson, who completely made himself over. Dude looks amazing. Wants to see a full, healthy season out of the big guy.
Keep taking a step forward with the conditioning component. I have to commend him. He's doing everything he needs to do to take care of his body. That's going to be important for him to be available for us, continue to step on the floor, and be the Zion that we know he's capable of being. And when he's doing that, he's one of the top players in this league.
Tip-off, by the way, in Memphis is 7 p.m. tonight. And when it comes to Zion and when it comes to sustained success from the Pelicans, I mean, it's hard to be in a spot that's not, I'll believe it when I see it, right? It is hard to be in a spot where you look at the Pelicans and you say, okay, this is the year. Because how many times do we buy in? And how many times do they get bit by the injury bug? I will say this, the complete metamorphosis of Zion Williamson has me emotionally invested in this team already this year. I'm here for it. I'm here for them to break my heart again. 10 new players on this year's roster, by the way, which is ridiculous. Veteran guard Jordan Poole says the preseason games help the team get a little more into a rhythm and grow a little more chemistry on the floor.
The 2 games that we played in Australia was good to kind of get going, moving around a little bit, but I think we were able to really find our chemistry, our flow within that late second quarter, third quarter, in that Orlando Magic preseason game. But we've been practicing hard, and I know it starts to click a little bit when you're going against a team that doesn't know your plays or doesn't know your tendencies. It's only a matter of time before we start to put everything together.
So our sister station, 104.5 ESPN, they will be carrying more than a handful of Pelicans games this season. And in fact, you can hear Todd Graffinini on the call right on 104.5 tonight, 7 p.m., like we said, at the Memphis Grizzlies. All right, we have got the Fox Business Report coming your way. I will check traffic on the back end of that, and then attorney Richard Sprinkle is in for Legally Served next. Do what? Oh, we have a clock? Oh, God. No. We have a prop? Yep. Now I got defense. No. You got to be able to shoot with someone in your face. Well, I'm still waiting for that year to come around because I still believe I can ball. The easy one. Yep. Okay, this is too long for me to text, but I'm responding to my buddy Chandler right now. He says, did y'all not pay the electric bill in the studio? Chandler, we're looking at different ways to light me, so there's gonna be a little bit of a trial and error phase around here. And I'm gonna say what I said, before, I guess it was before the show started. Turns out I'm so white, this is the lengths they have to go to effectively light me. So, but how do I look? Does it look all right? The thing is, it looks fine for Facebook because it's zoomed out.
Sure.
When we try to repurpose for social media, which is where the numbers are,
Right.
you got to zoom in. And when you zoom in, you lose generations.
Sure.
So.
You got to go up to like an 8K camera or something you can zoom
We
in
are.
with.
Eventually. It's just. Cracker ass cracker. It's about right. It's about right.
Somebody called you that?
Good buddy.
Okay. I was going to say, it's so early to be that hostile.
All love. All love. Yeah, we're looking at problems on the interstate right now, y'all. Here's what we've got going on. Actually, a couple of different things going on. Let's start with the accident on 110 northbound at Mohican. We've got an accident there that's being worked. We've also got, I'm looking at 110 southbound and 10 eastbound coming across the bridge. Big time delays on both of those, and it looks like it stems right around. Is this going to have to do with construction? Because I'm not seeing an accident connected to it. This may have to do with construction. Right around Louise Street, from Louise up to about, it doesn't even get to Dalrymple. So we'll call it Dalrymple just to have the next exit marker there. So if you're coming across from West Baton Rouge into Baton Rouge this morning, if you're coming south on 110, you are going to run into some pretty significant delays. I'll see if we can't get a check-in with DOTD to see if that's the same construction delays that we've seen a couple of times in the past where they're supposed to be done by 5 a.m. Dudes are out there working. I'm not hating on them. Sometimes a little bit rolls over and the traffic stacks up pretty quickly. Meanwhile, on I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish, let's start with this. You've got an accident being worked right now, still in the roadway, 12 west at Millerville. There's an accident about 10 minutes before that, 12 west at Essen. Neither one of those is causing you enough traffic to want to change your route, but it's getting there quickly where things are stacking up quicker than quicker than they can be alleviated. So be on the lookout for those 2 accidents. Surface Street's only one thing to look out for, and it's from over an hour ago. Corporate Boulevard at Town Center Boulevard, an accident Corporate Boulevard in between Town Center Boulevard and Old Hammond Highway, an accident being worked there. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. My own wife. Why is it so dark in your studio?
Well, it's really not that dark if you're sitting here staring at that light across the table from me. Starting to feel like I'm back in TV. Then the problem is it'll light up our nostrils. And everything else. Yeah.
We're at 625 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. We're going to get into Legally Served here in just a minute. I do need to remind you about the folks over at 180 Pros. 180pros.com is their website. They sponsor the studio, they sponsor the show, and they are the last IT call you're ever going to have to make. Guys, 180 Pros is doing things a little bit differently than others have done in the past. IT companies will be your IT provider. 180 Pros will be your IT partner. Teamwork makes the dream work right here. When you call 180 Pros, what you're getting out of this is a full-on relationship. Y'all are in it together to make sure your IT is working for you. You're not going to get nickel and dimed with a line item bill all the way through. You're going to get simplified billing. You're going to get same-day response time, and you're going to get local people that you can rely on. Look, I could brag on their tech all day long, but everybody's got the tech, you know? All those everybody in that industry can speak to their own credentials. It's the relationship. That's what sets them apart. Check them out online, 180pros.com, 180pros.com, or give them a call, 225-330-2200 for 180 Pros. All right, we've got a stack of topics to cover at Legally Served. Let's hit it. It's time for a little Legally Served. Franz is, I don't know, France, I think, Lords.
Something like
somewhere
that.
halfway around the world.
Something like that.
So we call to our favorite pinch hitter. That would be Richard Sprinkle, who's in right now. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you this morning?
I'm very well as well. I appreciate you hopping on board when we got so many topics to cover.
I mean, have things been happening? I wasn't watching.
A little bit. There's been things happening. There's been things happening. In fact, I was looking at the rundown. We're not even going to get to our Attorney General and Solicitor General at the Supreme Court.
No.
That's not even going to make the cut today.
No.
So let's dive in. Let's start with a case that probably should be pretty cut and dry.
This one's pretty easy.
Yeah. If you got kiddos listening, fair warning. It got the nature of the topic is a little bit graphic. A Walker man was arrested after he allegedly let a child look at sexually explicit pictures and videos on a device of his. Livingston Parish deputies arrested Mark Howard, who's 39 years old, for 12 counts of indecent behavior with juveniles, according to a Facebook post by the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. They said on September 30th they received a tip from a local parent that their child had been victimized by Howard, as well as a tip from Attorney General Liz Murrell's office. According to the Sheriff's Office, Howard was with the child when he allegedly let them look at the inappropriate pictures and videos on his electronic device. He was booked into the Livingston Parish Detention Center. I want to ask you this from more of a defense perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a defendable, how would you go about mounting a defense in this case? I mean, because it feels so like this is such a slam dunk.
Well, okay, so we're going to have to talk about what the images were, because what the images were depends on where that defense is going to go. If it's just, for lack of a better term, run-of-the-mill pornography that's on his device, he's got a right to have that there.
Right.
And maybe the child got his device and looked at the stuff on his device without his permission. That's possible. If the images are not run-of-the-mill porn and are images of some illegal, prohibited nature, like child porn or something like that, he's in trouble either way.
Right.
So first you got to, I hate to say it, first you got to look at the images to see what you're dealing with.
Okay.
Actually puts the defense attorney in a really unique position, because if it is child porn, the attorney doesn't even want to look at that. I mean,
Okay.
For the obvious reason,
Well,
you don't want
there's
to look
that.
at it.
Yeah,
But secondly, defense attorneys don't want that imagery on their in-house computers or anything like that, because suddenly
now
we could be a
everybody's-
target
yeah.
of something. Sure.
Now
sure.
everybody's in that boat, to be sure.
Right.
Okay, so I want to ask. This isn't going to be as easy as I thought. I thought this was a lot more slam dunk, but I've got other questions. However, we've got news breathing down our throats.
Sure.
So we'll check ABC News. We'll check local news, traffic, weather. Attorney Richard Sprinkle is in for Franz Borgard. We do Legally Serve this time every week. Stick around. We'll pick it right back up when we get back.
I was trying to pull up the penalties for indecent behavior, but whatever. You know what LP stands for, right?
What?
You know what LP stands for?
No.
Lots of pedos.
Yeah.
It seems
About
to be
right.
that seems to be the hotbed. That's where we get a lot of calls for, hey, I've been arrested for X, Y, and Z, and it's like, Livingston Parish? Yeah. What's in the water over there?
Well, I mean, they had the whole. We called them Livingston Sweethearts. Dennis and Cynthia.
Oh yeah. Where was Red Jacket Firearms? Where was that whole bunch? Was that Livingston too, or Ascension?
I think that was Livingston.
Could have been. I don't know.
The ones that had is that the Sons of Guns?
Yeah. Charlie Watson, remember him?
Yeah, they disappeared quick.
Oh,
Sons of Guns.
Yeah. Well, Discovery Channel sure wasn't going to renew that contract. Terrible what happened to Charlie, though.
Oh, I don't know that story.
He showed up on our podcast at least once or twice. Brilliant firearms expert, and worked for the state doing firearms forensic kind of work. He wound up basically drinking himself to death. It was sad. So wait, are we done with Walker Man?
No, I got one more on it.
Okay.
I feel like it's this. Assuming the nature of the porn is just regular porn.
Sure.
Okay. If I'm the attorney, I'm walking in saying, kid has to play Candy Crush, hand it over the phone, you play Candy Crush, and then, oh, look, I'm going to go exploring elsewhere. Is he still guilty? Because the porn is still on his phone. Like, and not under lock and key, you know?
It's possible. I mean, there's a degree of negligence that you could argue there, right? So if I've got, I don't know, let's say we roll it back the clock 20 or 30 years and I've got a stack of magazines, like a lot of households did, whether mom knew about it or not, there was a stack of magazines around. If I don't have them put away somewhere and the neighbor kids are over playing with my kid and suddenly they're all looking at magazines, there's an argument there that I'm being negligent.
So
right?
that's exactly where I want to go with it.
Right.
Okay, because that's the exact comp. It's okay. So you have the stack of magazines, but they're in your bedroom in a drawer.
Right.
But the drawer isn't locked. So, but like, okay, so the kid says, hey, somebody's already in this bathroom. I'll go use ours. And then all of a sudden he goes back into the master bath and starts snooping around. There's snooping, and then there's what's not protected to be found.
Right. Well, I think the negligence argument becomes a little weaker with, I guess, a lack of a better term, through proximity, right? If the magazines are somewhere very close to where the kids are playing, that's one thing, right?
Right.
If the magazines are, in a nightstand drawer in the master bedroom, I don't think anybody's expecting the rest of the world to go rummaging through their nightstand drawers. So the expectation of privacy changes.
So now we bring it back to the phone.
Right. That's
not,
different.
It's in a folder somewhere.
Right.
It's not just like it's not your lock screen.
Right.
Right. It's you have to open up a folder and
Right.
then, it connect to whatever from there.
And that depends on where it is on the phone, I guess.
Right.
Is that folder password protected? Is it things
But that's
like
the
that.
same thing though. Does it take password protection the same way it doesn't the old penthouse doesn't have to be under lock and key? The kid's going snooping.
Right.
So
Right.
once
What?
we knock that out, we can move on.
Sure. So it's an interesting question because at what point is it negligence or is it snooping?
Right. And what I'm always trying to do with stories like this is take what used to be real life and translate it to digital.
Sure.
That's where
That's exactly what this one is.
These are privacy questions we didn't have
Mm-mm.
50 years ago, 30 years ago.
No. And if I was a kid and went through my dad's nightstand or something.
My parents had a friend who just had a magazine rack in the bathroom.
Mm.
Like there's a Better Homes and Gardens and then there's like a Jugs or whatever.
Well, I mean, it's there, you know.
It always baffled me.
I think I remember going to a friend's house one time, and he just lived with his dad. Like mom and dad were divorced or whatever, and I'm pretty sure dad had some sitting around in a bathroom or something like that. Just there, yeah. I mean, they weren't like Jugs; they were Playboy or Penthouse or something.
Oh, this was like second rate.
Not to say that
second rate.
The stuff Larry Flint would look at and go, "That's kind of rough, man."
.636 Talk 107.3 FM and WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Legally Served with attorney Richard Sprinkle going to continue right now. Judges behaving badly, maybe not. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. Right now, though, I want to continue with the same topic that we went into the break with, Richard, and that is this 39-year-old Mark Howard out of Livingston Parish, a Walker man who was arrested after he allegedly let a child look at sexually explicit pictures and videos on a device of his. Now, in the last segment, you were talking about you first of all have to know the nature of the porn. Is it grown consenting adults?
I mean, either way, this could be a crime. I mean, it could arguably be indecent behavior.
I want to walk down the hypothetical. I want to walk down the path that yes, it's grown consenting adults.
Right.
Okay. You're we'll call it run of the mill porn. No further charges expected porn.
Sure.
FBI not beating down your door.
Right.
Dateline not hanging out in the kitchen waiting to come in. Okay.
No.
All right, so run-of-the-mill porn here, grown consenting adults. I want to know how difficult it is to actually prove that the kid asks adult, hey, do you have Candy Crush on your phone? Yeah, sure do. Can I play Candy Crush? Yeah, here's my phone. Kid starts playing Candy Crush, adult walks off a little bit, kid closes out Candy Crush and opens up another file, goes in and finds something else, snoops through the phone to find something else. Is that, I mean... I feel like that would be my defense.
Well, and you bring up a good point because if the child's snooping through the phone, what else is the child doing? Were the images on the phone to begin with? Did the child go to some website?
Okay, yeah.
Did the child take the phone and go to some website?
Right.
While the child had in other words,
a website that
likely
this person has already been to and has already checked in as being over 18.
Possibly.
Right?
Possibly. Or does the child just know how to access these websites?
I try to translate things in the digital world to how things used to be in the real world years ago. So here's a similar scenario, okay? Get kids over at a different grown-up's house, right? Kid has to go to the bathroom. Somebody's in the bathroom that would be for the rest of the house.
Sure.
So the owner of the house says, no, go use ours. Go use the master bath, right? Kid goes back in the back, and instead of going right to the bathroom, starts snooping around a little bit, opens a desk drawer, finds old school, dirty magazines, right? Old Playboy, Penthouse, whatever. Is that person guilty of the same, accusations you would see here? Because to me, it's the same scenario.
Well, I don't think they would, because the way the law's written, what they're looking at here is the Louisiana Indecent Behavior with Juvenile Statute. In this particular set of facts, they're looking at the transmission, delivery, or utterance of any textual, visual, written, or oral communications depicting lewd or lascivious conduct, text, words, or images to any person reasonably believed to be under the age of 17. Right. There's some other stuff in there, but long story short, that means the person charged gave the stuff, transmitted the stuff, showed the stuff.
Right.
Right. So to me, by the black letter of the law, if I handed a 16-year-old my phone and the 16-year-old went online and found their own porn, I've got a great defense there. That stuff wasn't on my phone before I handed it to him.
But
and
if it
luckily
was
we
on
have
the phone,
metadata where you
but
can
if
see
it was
that
on the
stuff.
phone,
Now, if it
and you have
was
to
on the
open,
phone,
like let's say it's in their photos file, okay?
Right.
You have to open photos and then open another individual folder within there. Like it's not like you're opening photos and it's like here's the trip to New York City, here's a bunch of boobies. Like it's not
right.
Okay, so the kid had to close whatever they were doing and go looking around somewhere else. That to me is the direct comparison to opening a desk drawer and finding grandpa's stash.
It is. But the big difference between opening the desk drawer and finding grandma's stash or grandpa's stash.
Hey, grandma might be down. We don't know.
Hey man, this is modern times, whatever. But the difference between that is these devices track everything that's done on them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's metadata about every file that's opened and when.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go back through the operating system and figure that out. Now I can't, but there are plenty of tech nerds that can.
Right.
So you could tell what happened when the child was presented the phone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Was a new file opened? No. Well, then the file must have been opened when he handed the phone to the child.
Right.
Right. This little device right here will tell on you in a big way. So there's a lot of interesting stuff to this story. It seems small. It seems like a short, little, quick, easy little story, but there's a lot of, stuff under the engine here that could be really interesting, especially for a legal nerd.
Yeah, and that's
Like
what. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
So I don't have the legal background, but I know all the right questions. I don't know the answers, but I know the questions.
Sure.
Right.
Well, that's the most important part.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to see how that one plays out. In the meanwhile, there's another story I want to get to here.
Where we going?
Headline from WBRZ: Judicial Commission says Foxworth Roberts could have avoided proposed removal had she been honest during probe. Dateline New Orleans: a lawyer for Louisiana's Judiciary Commission said Tuesday the panel likely wouldn't have sought to remove an East Baton Rouge Parish judge from the bench if she'd been open and honest as the panel looked into complaints that she had lied to voters and police. At a hearing before the Louisiana Supreme Court, the commission said Tiffany Foxworth Roberts engaged in a pervasive pattern of lying as investigators examined her 2020 campaign materials and an insurance claim made following a car burglary. The judge's lawyer, Steve Irving, said Foxworth Roberts was under a lot of stress during her campaign, which occurred during the COVID-19 pandemic, and as her mother fought with stage 4 cancer. He also said the judge was confused when an examiner asked her compound questions. This goes back to, I believe she was it a military record in her campaign?
Right. There were some ads that were run during her campaign that said she served during, and if I misquote this, I sure hope not, but said she served during Operation Desert Storm, and she served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and also said she was a captain in, I believe it was either the Army or the National Guard. I can't remember.
Okay.
Right.
Now, but, okay, so, she was not.
Well, if you do the math, I believe she was 16 during Operation Desert Storm.
Right.
I served in Operation Desert Storm.
Thank you for that.
I believe I'm a little bit older than she is.
Yeah.
And so I don't know who wrote the ad or who published the ad or whatever, but long story short, the numbers don't add up there. Now, as far as the rank goes, I do know that she would not allow for her military records to be released to the Office of Disciplinary Counsel's investigators.
Okay.
But I watched the video of the Supreme Court. It's about an hour and change long, and you've really got to be interested in law to watch this stuff and pay attention through it. But the justices were asking the two attorneys, the attorney for both Judge Foxworth Roberts and the attorney for the panel, about that very situation, and it appears that she had applied for a promotion from first lieutenant to captain 2 times and been passed over 2 times. And the rule in the military at the time was it was like my old program of move up or move out they had when I was in the military. Either you get promoted or they show you the door.
Right.
And I believe she was allowed to resign because she did not achieve the rank of captain the second time asking.
But claimed she was.
That's
So
what I understand. Right.
where did she go completely wrong? Because the way I read this story, it seems like she can claim to have been in Desert Storm. She can claim to have been captive, but the first time she was asked about it, that's where she should have fessed up.
So the interesting thing about the bar in Louisiana, as we all know, or may not know, I don't know, the bar is in charge of all the lawyers and all the judges, period, paragraph. That's who controls our licenses. And the Supreme Court is the ultimate authority in all of that. If you are applying for a bar license, say you're in law school and you're applying for your bar license, if you have a transgression in your past and you're honest with them and tell them this happened, it happened back here, I haven't had any problems since then, mea culpa, they're generally fine with that. It happens to a lot of kids in law school because a lot of kids get in trouble before they decide they want to go to law school, right? So they've got a little something in their past. If you get in trouble as an attorney and you come forward and say, hey, I made a big mistake, I should never have done this, I got myself in trouble, depending on the mistake and depending on your amount of contrition and honesty, you may end up with a small punishment or even just a slap on the wrist. But in this particular case, there was no going back on the story. There was a doubling down of her story.
Right.
And maybe even a triple or quadrupling down of her story because she continued to say it to investigators. She continued to say it in hearings. And that's what's got the Supreme Court kind of hot right now.
Right. You lied and then you lied again.
Right.
And there's other parts of this that I want to break down.
I don't know that she lied. I'm not accusing her of lying.
But
I'm just saying that's what's got them hot.
There's other parts of this that I want to break down, but we gotta take a quick break. We'll check traffic. We'll check your money now. Before we get you to that traffic, I do want to give you that heads up on I-10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish on 110 southbound. You are looking at significant delays. When I did traffic about 20 minutes ago, before we checked in with Ray again, I was guessing that this was overnight construction that's running over. Turns out that's confirmed. Shout out to Rodney Mallett. He's always on top of this. He says about 15 minutes ago, I-10 remains closed as the Dalrymple exit, as does the Dalrymple exit. Contractor had some issues getting, I'm sorry. I-10 eastbound, 2 lanes are still closed, waiting on the concrete to set. So that, I was reading a previous text. I-10 eastbound was remaining closed. So that's what we're looking at right now. It is still stacked up. They're working their way through it, but it is going to be a slow-going morning to start things off. All right, quick break. Coming back next.
I did hear that very thing on the
from Ray Romero.
Yeah, right before you. Yeah, that they ran into overtime.
Well,
on
they're out of New Orleans, so I don't know what they're privy to. I don't know if Ronnie even has access to them.
So yeah, now the interesting thing on the Judge Foxworth Roberts issue is this is the second time in recent history that a judge from the 19th JDC has been called in front of the Supreme Court down in Louisiana for things. And that shows. I encourage you to watch the video. It's about an hour and 20 minutes long. Right. It's funny they didn't want to say her name the whole time, but they made it clear who they were talking about. Very, very clear who they were talking about. It's a little spooky. We were joking around the office. Remember years ago when NOPD kept getting in trouble and they wound up with a consent decree from the federal government? Like,
don't put that in the. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I was like, what happens with the judiciary when this goes down? I don't know. But it's
no, you know what you get? You get Scarecrow running the bench.
Yeah.
From Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. It's
death or
bad.
exile.
It's bad.
Everything's death or
It's
exile.
bad. Well, I don't know. You could probably get it commuted. You could probably get it commuted. You heard that story, I know. Or was I listening to you for that story? Or was that a Good Morning, whatever the show before yours?
That was probably before me.
Trump's considering commuting Diddy. He's not even in a jail.
Is that really
yet.
a thing?
Yeah, he's considering it. And he literally said, it's hard. I'm having difficulty with it. He said some great things about me before I ran. And now that I'm elected, he's saying not so great things. So I got to be honest with you, it's hard. I'm like, are you serious, sir? Are you serious, sir? That's your hang up with
Well,
it?
well, hang on. God, I can't believe I'm going to defend Trump on this. Diddy wasn't convicted of all the nastiness he was accused of.
Only
The
some of it.
convictions, but they were much, much less.
Yep, right.
Like, we're looking at, like, what was it, 4
I don't even remember.
4 years, and he's already served a year
It
and a
went
half.
from
of it?
like, if 10's the worst, it came down to like a 3.
Right.
I mean, it came really far down. We going back to
Yeah.
TFR? Got it. Okay, cool. This is funny that they do this. WBRZ says no decision was reached Tuesday. Court gave no timetable. Okay, they're a court of review. That's normal.
Mhm.
This is oral arguments. Okay?
Right.
They're never going to give a decision on the day of oral arguments. But
I
the
know,
news
the
always is like, the
layperson-
court did not give a decision. I'm like, of course not.
The layperson is used to just a decision made, and then executive producer Dick Wolf.
I always laugh at that. The court did not give a decision. Nope. That's right out the playbook. I mean, some of the quotes. Justice J. McCallum was very hot. I mean, very, very hot. And see, the other thing too is they're talking about that burglary out of her car, where the jewelry supposedly stolen out of her car.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know all the stories, but allegedly, here's what happened: the jewelry gets stolen out of her car, and then she moves her car from wherever the jewelry was stolen and brings it home.
Right.
And
Says it was stolen at her home, not when it was.
home, and so it's a question of, well, was she being forthright with her insurance carrier? Because if she filed the claim with an auto policy, it doesn't matter where the car's parked, but if she filed the claim with the homeowner's policy, it does. So I don't know. Again, I'm just reading what I'm seeing in the news. I haven't read any investigations. I don't know what happened. Frankly, only she's going to know what happened. But it's obvious she's in a lot of hot water, and it's obvious the members of the Supreme Court are kind of coming after her. And Justice McCallum literally said to the attorney for the board, "Why didn't you bring us this hammer 6 months ago when the other judge was in trouble?" Because now they're looking to remove Tiffany Foxworth Roberts from the bench.
Yeah.
That's what the council wants. The last time around, they came together with the judge, and they entered a consent disciplinary action, right, where judge signed up for it, which took the power away from the Supreme Court. And that's what Judge McCallum's all mad about it.
All right, then I've got process questions that you might not have answers to after this.
Well, let's hear them. We'll
Okay.
try.
652 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Tim Temple, our insurance commissioner, going to join us at 7:15. That'll be right after Top Stories and Trending, which comes up at the top of the hour, which is 7.5 minutes away, which means we got to get down to it because we got a lot more ground to cover with Attorney Richard Sprinkle in our Legally Served segment. We're talking about Judge Tiffany Foxworth Roberts, as well, because that's part of the equation here. That's part of the possibilities here is that she might not be after a visit to the state Supreme Court. There's questions about her timeline in serving in Desert Storm. There's
Right.
questions about her rank as to whether or not she was ever captain.
Right.
There's also questions about a car burglary, which you and I were talking about during the break.
Sure.
When all these questions come up, if she's found to be lying about any of them, like what level does it take to get her booted?
Well, that's exactly what the Office of Disciplinary Counsel for the Judiciary is seeking right now. They want her removed from the bench, and the reason behind that is they're claiming she was dishonest to the public at large.
Right.
And honesty is something you absolutely have to have. It's critical in judges. It's a critical trait to have in a judge. I can't imagine what the universe would look like if judges were allowed to lie willy-nilly and just say whatever they wanted anytime they wanted. We wouldn't have a judicial system. We would. I think you mentioned it during the break. You'd have Scarecrow in the Batman movie.
Right. Death
Just
or
doing
exile.
doing whatever he wanted. So that's what they're looking for. Now, what does it take to get her booted? I think it just if it can be proven that she's been dishonest, I believe that's all it takes, right? Because dishonesty during the campaign will easily translate to dishonesty in other areas.
Now, if she is booted, we don't appoint judges; we elect them.
Right?
Can she run again?
That's a procedural question. You said I might not know the answer to.
Correct.
Frankly, I don't think I do. There's a qualifying you have to do, and I don't know if that qualifying involves any actual qualifications, or does it just involve paying some money and filling out a form? I'm not sure.
Right.
I would think the Supreme Court would have something to say about somebody trying to run for judge again right after they got removed from the bench. I surely there's something out there about that.
Probably, but okay, so let's say she moves over to a different court.
Right.
Like she gets booted from 19th JDC. Next time a spot on the say city court rolls around, she throws her name in that race. Like I don't. Is it concluded? Is she once you're done? Are you done?
I don't know the answer to that, Brian. I would have to look at it. I would say this. I mean, everyone's going to remember. I know the Americans generally have short memories, but her opposition won't, and
right.
That'll be a big discussion in the campaign. So I don't know how well it'll work out.
We have just a couple minutes left. Want to hit on this last story, which this one's coming from the Louisiana Illuminator, where the headline reads, Public Defenders Sue Louisiana Over Their Terminations, Allege Governor's Office Interference. 4 attorneys who used to lead local public defender offices are suing the Louisiana government and the state public defender over their terminations. They allege Governor Jeff Landry's administration interfered with a state board review of their work contracts and contributed to them losing their jobs. Where does this story go, and how? This feels like it's going to go somewhere, and it's going to build up over time.
It's gonna build up a lot over time. So the essence of the story is this: the Louisiana Public Defender Board used to run the Louisiana Public Defenders for the state, right? And essentially, Governor Landry's appointed Remy Starnes to run the board now. It's not so much there's a board voting, there's Remy Starnes, and he's allegedly stacking the board with yes men who are going to say and do whatever he tells them to do. And that's helped allow him to start removing some of these people from office, some of these chief public defenders. Claims that they make too much money, et cetera, et cetera. Oddly enough, these people that make too much money are the very ones that opposed Mr. Starnes in other things politically. So there's a lot of questions there about what's actually driving this. Is it just a power grab or what? And I mean, it's no secret our government, our current governor is not a fan of the public defender's office. He's more tending to fund the prosecution than the defense.
The chief prosecutor before. He was the AG before that.
Sure.
I mean, he has a resume under his belt of that being on that side of the courtroom.
But everybody's got a right to a defense.
Understood.
So
understood.
Right.
And there ideally there should be a want for both sides to play along, right?
Exactly.
But there's this flip side of this that I can't get past. I want to know how much of the story is to the victor goes the spoils, and the one who's not getting the spoils is really up in arms about it.
Well, it's not so much the victor getting the spoils. The victor here didn't win anything. All the victor did was say, okay, well, you guys are on contracts. I'm simply not going to renew your contract. I'm not firing you. I'm just not going to renew your contract.
Right. So, but I guess the question is that within their right in that post?
Well, is it within his right? His right? Well, the problem is it was a board decision is what it should have been.
Yeah.
But it wasn't actually a board decision. That's what the allegations are.
Okay, who gets to determine what makes up a board decision and what makes up a group of yes men?
Well, apparently the victor in this argument will get to decide.
And we're right back to the top of the page there, Richard. All right.
This one's going to get messy, and it's going to be long.
And, yeah, I want to break this down. I tell you what, man, this would be great is get you and Franz back in together on this one.
That would be fun.
Yeah, because, I mean, this is one where I need to, I'll have some really dumb questions to ask, but I'll have a couple, gems along the way.
I could possibly have some dumb answers, too.
But between the two of y'all, this is more of a legally unfiltered.
It could be.
All
It
right,
could
we're
be.
going to get that plan put in the works here. In the meanwhile, we are straight up out of time. Richard, I always appreciate you stepping in. You do a bang-up job every single time.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's a
Thank
pleasure
you.
being here.
Absolutely. We've got ABC News coming your way. We've got hour 2 on the way after that. We'll knock out top stories and trending. Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple going to join us at 7:15. Right now, though, like I said, we're coming up on Heads Up 7 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM. After ABC News, we're going to check up traffic. Yes, it's still rough going on 10 eastbound coming into the city.
There we go.
Who's on hold?
He must have just hung up. I was literally about to get him on. He hung up. Some idiot. I think it's that curmudgeon.
Oh.
That's him again. He called like 3 times.
What does he want?
Change the subject. Can you talk about something different? I'm like, this is legally served. This is what we're talking about. Well, speaking of a legal matter, I'd like to talk to Brian about something. I'm like, okay. Like,
Studio.
fast speed. Yeah, it's like, he kept calling. Talk about something different. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
All right.
Look, man. Go get a cup of coffee, take a piss. By the time you come back, we'll be talking about something.
yeah, I mean, but this is the guy.
Is this a regular?
Yeah.
Frequent flyers. All right, guys. I'm gonna go write an appeal.
Yeah, he's the guy that said my show wouldn't last 3 months. And on the first day of the 4th month, he said my show wouldn't last 6 months. And then it was, your show's not going to last a year.
Tell me you should go be a meteorologist.
That's the only spot, the only place you can be that wrong that often. Like, I'm in year 6 of the show
You're doing fine.
in its current format.
But who's up that early listening to a show they hate?
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
That's my point.
Like, what are
On
you
radio,
doing?
I've only got room for 2 more advertisers. That's so, yeah. I know. Do what? About $2,000 a month. Well, yeah. Well, and I got room for 2 more. I'm about to land Exxon Mobil for an annual kind of PR campaign on their part. I do a number of, and this actually costs less. Well, it's going to cost them because they're buying libraries as well. But I do a lot of content marketing, like Medical Monday.
Yeah, Troy. He said the only thing that would make this lighting more romantic is some Kenny G playing in the background. JP, cue it up. I tell you what, I've been introduced to Boney James. I don't know if anybody heard
Boney
of
James.
Boney James.
I know Boney
Yeah.
James.
Might take the place of old Kenny G.
Get some David Sanborn songs from the night before. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't know shit like that. The Pat Metheny group. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Give me one quick second. Oh, see, the thing is, this isn't far off from what the lighting is upstairs. But upstairs, they have that added room up top to put in more lights above. That's the only difference right here is we're not in a TV studio. We're like, y'all, Michelle and Kate and everybody got creative trying to make this fit, like retrofit it. I don't think they did a bad. I think they did a good job. All right. 7:05. Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. JP producing. We are starting off your second hour at 63 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studios. 180 Pros. Is it time for your IT to do a 180? Before we get you, actually, you know what? Let me just tease the guests this hour, and then we'll get to top stories. We got Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple on the hotline coming up in our next segment. We've got Janet Simmons from Breck coming up at 7:35. A lot of updates on both of those fronts. Going to be a fast-moving hour. Top stories and trending. Let's go.
Number 5.
The city of St. George will take over public works operations, maintenance, and citizen service support within the city's limits at the start of November, officials said. They're going to continue to use the East Baton Rouge Parish's 311 system up until that date as well.
Number 4.
As cleanup continues in Roseland and surrounding areas in the wake of the August explosion at Smitty Supply, a courtroom trial attorney said around 3,000 people have submitted claims for a class action lawsuit against the company. Trial specialist and courtroom trial attorney Louis Unglesby told our news partners at WBRZ yesterday more than 20 law firms are working on the suit, said the damage goes beyond the initial explosion. And look, we've been in on this story from the beginning. We got a good friend of the show downriver, down the Tangipahoa River from Smitty's. He's just south of I-12, and the nastiness in the river is beyond compare. Been posting up pictures on a daily, literally daily basis to show just how much oil and muck and everything else is in the river. What that means is, if it's that far away, number one, you're going to have a lot more than 3,000 people in this class action lawsuit. Number two, the next step past his house, Lake Pontchartrain.
Number 3.
55-year-old Henry Ray Thomas was booked for murder following the shooting death of 53-year-old Huey Saunier on Calumet Street. This murder happened back on June 18th. BRPD getting the clearance on this one as Henry Ray Thomas was booked. Thomas is currently in the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. This makes him easy to find. He was already in prison on an unrelated charge.
Number 2.
LSU issued new guidance on pregame partying ahead of football games. We're actually going to have a lot more on that coming up in our trending stories.
Number 1.
All right, got an update from DOTD. They have just started removing the lane closure. Going to be about another 45 minutes before everything is back up to normal, back up to speed. Now, that being said, we've seen numerous delays build up already. So if you're coming from West Baton Rouge into East Baton Rouge, it is going to be very, very slow going on I-10 eastbound. If you're on 110 southbound, we're seeing backups there as well. This is overnight road work, and they've had a little bit of problem. Well, I should say they've had a problem. The concrete didn't set in the manner of time that it was supposed to. This is about the third time that we've seen this with the construction on the I-10 expansion. About the third time we've seen it. I mean, the bad news is you're sitting in traffic a little bit longer. The good news is them boys are out there working. So glass half full, glass half empty. Take it how you want on this Wednesday morning. What you got, JP?
Well, Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel. He's calling the progress in Gaza better than anticipated, but points out that challenges remain.
And they're going to.
For sure.
You're talking about a thousands of year old conflict. I mean, you don't just snap your fingers and solve it. Yeah. You don't say, it's resolved. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're looking for progress, right? That's what we're seeing.
I mean, the ceasefire could be triggered by a game of Hungry Hippos gone wrong. Right? Like, that's the level of volatility that they've got.
Yeah.
Is everything could fall to the wayside based off of something like that.
Yeah, they're saying they're exceeding where they thought they would be at this time. So
which is good.
That's a good thing.
Which is good.
Well, a man was taken into custody late Tuesday after driving his car into the security barrier outside the White House just after 10:30 last night.
And so far, what we're finding out, or what has been found out so far, is that this was just an accident.
Yeah, he was arrested. The vehicle was assessed and deemed safe, according to the tweet by the U.S. Secret Service Office of Communications. So,
Okay.
yeah, there we go.
All right. I mean,
Well-
I'll take it. You just when you see a story like that, you often wonder: is this connected to something larger? Was there nefarious intent involved, and all that other good stuff? Right.
Mhm.
Well, every ounce of squashing that is a good ounce.
That's right.
That's where I'll take
Absolutely.
it.
Hey, well, there are tighter game day restrictions kick in this week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See that on LSU's campus?
Oh, yeah. Let's start with this. Roadblocks going up on Highland Road, Dalrymple Drive, and other key routes at 2:30 p.m. So if you're not on campus more than 4 hours before kickoff and you don't have the proper parking permits, forget about it. You're not getting where you're going at that point. You have to park further out and walk towards it. Now, along with that, the road closures, that's just one part of it. We heard from Scott Ballard. We heard from Matt Lee from the press conference last Thursday. Was it Thursday or Friday? Either way, there's going to be a lot more law enforcement crackdown. You are going to – oh, JP, you ready for this impression?
What's that?
You know what that is? That's the drone over your head
Yeah.
on game day. A lot more drones out there. Going to be looking at a lot more folks doing a lot more bad things, or hopefully not doing anything bad at all. Leave the weed at home, or at least keep it in doses that are not criminal. I don't know what that level would be. I would just recommend leaving it home. Yeah. But that was the marijuanas was brought up specifically. So, yeah. Bigger law enforcement presence. It's just such a tough balance to walk because LSU's campus on game day is world renowned. We do it better than anybody else out there. And a large part of that is because we do it bigger than everybody else out there. You get 103,000 in the stadium. You can get 175,000, 200,000 on campus on the really biggest of big game days. And it's that level of just everybody's all in that makes it so great. But it's also that level where the more people you have out there, the more likely you are to have a bad apple. So, 712 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Before we take our break, sorry, ran long there. Before we take our break, come back with Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple. I do need to remind you about the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs. Danny and his team, physically located in Denham Springs, but really need to urge, he serves the entire area. They're on Aspen Drive, right next to Big Mike's. That's where the physical location is. Moved into their new digs a few months ago, really moved in fully into their new digs a few months ago. Gave themselves a little bit of room to grow, and they are growing, y'all. Take a look at your business card. Take a look at all of your printed materials. Does it pop? Be honest with yourself. Does it pop? Does it start conversation? I tell you what, assess it this way. When you hand your business card to somebody else, how do they go about looking at it? I mean, do you get is it commented on? If not, is your business really front and center? Is your business really going to be remembered? This is where Danny comes in, and this is where Danny shines. This is where his whole team at 5 Star Printing and Signs, this is where they shine. Give them a call, 271-4096, 271-4096. Business cards, signs, merchandise, vehicle wraps. It's 5 Star. Pyong, pyong, pyong. Studio. Ooh, yes. NFIP is on the list for. That's where I got to lead with that. Do what? Lost by 14 to St. George last night. Ah, such a killer. St. George has a girl who's at least 6'2".
Sure.
Yeah, I think our tallest girl's 5'7". And they get in their heads when they're playing at St. George's gym.
Yeah.
And it's just such a neck and neck battle all the time. Last year we played them 12 times last year, and we won 5 and lost 7.
Oh, okay.
This year we haven't beaten them yet, and they get in their heads when they're over there because it just, I don't know, when it became like when Les Miles was here, it became like the LSU Bama game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit of
Problems
intimidation
between the
from
ears
next
and not
side. Yeah.
the problem's not the talent.
Yeah. Just getting to their head.
Anyway, it makes for a long night when you're supposed to tip off at 7:15. You tip off at 8.
Oh.
You know. $7:16, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We check in roughly monthly with our insurance commissioner, Mr. Tim Temple. He's on the hotline right now. Commissioner Temple, how are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Brian. How are you today?
I'm doing very well this morning. Please tell me you're not stuck in what's on I-10 coming into town right now.
No, we're out of Baton Rouge early this morning, headed up to North Louisiana for some events today.
All right, good deal. Little open road at that point. We got a lot of ground to cover in this segment, but I want to start with that crossover between what is a state story and a national story. Can we talk NFIP for just a minute? And are there any effects on the National Flood Insurance Program because of what's going on in our federal government?
Yeah, look, Brian, with the government shutdown, Congress did not reauthorize the National Flood Insurance Program on September 30th. And until that program is reauthorized, which that won't be done until the government reopens, there's several impacts to policyholders. One, the NFIP, they cannot issue new or renew existing flood insurance policies. Consumers who have pending flood policy applications or renewals need to confirm with their agent that they will have coverage. I mean, this is a big issue for Louisiana. We are I would call a power user of the NFIP. About 9% of all enforced policies through the program are in Louisiana. It's about 420,000 policies as of the last count. Somewhere around 1,500 homeowner closings rely on NFIP policies.
Yep.
And that's around the country. That's not just Louisiana. But because we're a heavy user of it, that's a high number for us. So, one, you can't get a new policy. 2, you can't renew an existing policy right now if it's coming up. And then 2, people that are trying to do, close on homes, buy new homes, they are going to have to either postpone that closing or search and see if they can get a quote that's something that they can buy through the private flood market. And there is a private flood market out there. It is viable. It's not huge in Louisiana, but I think that there's going to be an opportunity for people to buy private flood policies during this pause when NFIP is not operating.
All right, we'll pivot to the private flood market in just a moment. But I want to ask a follow-up. You mentioned about closings and not being able to buy a new home. What happens to your existing mortgage if you can't renew? Like, let's say you bought your home 4 years ago, and you've been paying your mortgage, paying your flood insurance, and you can't renew on that front. What happens then? You're already in it. It's not like you're stopping you from getting in it. You're already in it.
That's right, and I think that's one of the things where, again, you need to talk with your agent and with your mortgage holder and see what your options are. I mean, look, I would hazard a guess that I don't think that a bank is going to, say that you're in default because the NFIP policy lapses. We've gone through this. Unfortunately, we've experienced this in our country before with the NFIP being shut down due to or not being reauthorized for a period of time. So they have had to deal with this situation in the past. But you need to reach out, talk to your mortgage lender, and find out what your options are and I guess what the consequences are right now.
All right, now let's talk who falls into what bucket here, because What plans or what insurance would fall under NFIP versus private flood market? Like, how do we determine which one goes where?
Well, it's your flood policy. I mean, right now you either buy a flood policy through the NFIP or you buy it through a private insurance company, an insurance company that offers you a flood policy. So it's one or the other. The vast majority of policies in Louisiana are through the NFIP. We've got several thousand private flood policies in force in our state. That number's growing. And I think, like I said, I think we'll probably see it grow more during the current period as private flood becomes the only option right now for people.
Mm-hmm.
But so those are the two buckets you would have a policy through, and people know whether they're in the NFIP or they're with a private flood company. But again, if you've got a question about it, call your insurance agent. Call the agent that you bought your private or your flood policy, whichever one it is.
Uh-huh.
Call them and ask them where it is and what your options are.
Would companies be able to move from one program to another within the same company?
Would a consumer?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can go from NFIP to private flood, and you can go from private flood to NFIP. Now, there's, I guess, the question becomes if people had some grandfathered rate protections in through NFIP, that question comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's something that we don't know what the outcome is going to be, and it just highlights the fact, Brian, that how vital and important a functioning and affordable NFIP is to the state of Louisiana, to the citizens of Louisiana. We can't afford to continue to do these short-term reauthorizations that don't address the underlying issues with this program. They just keep, we use this phrase to the point where I'm sick of it, but I don't come up with a better one, kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
This is another example of it. The NFIP has been temporarily reauthorized, I think, 33 times. That means that they have not addressed the problems with the program. They just keep extending. And, risk rating 2.0 was an attempt at that. I think that's been a dismal failure. There's a lot of people that are not happy with it, with the way that was rolled out. But they didn't fix the underlying problems. We've got to do that. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to be exposed to this, issue whenever they decide they don't want to reauthorize it for whatever reasons.
Is this a matter of there's no want to get it done on a national level, or is this a matter of nationwide we have too many different flood possibilities or too many different individual scenarios to create an effective national program?
Well, look, I mean, we have, we saw last year with our fellow citizens that live in North Carolina that they had homes that didn't think they would ever be worried about flooded.
Right.
Due to those, massive rainstorms that came and, bodies of water that overflowed their banks and river banks and levees and whatnot, dams. But flood is vital, but any home can flood. Under the right scenario and circumstances. So
right.
It is important. It needs to be a national discussion. But unfortunately, like I said, this has just been, I don't know if there's other issues that have been more pressing, but, we do have we've got the strongest delegation in Congress that you could possibly imagine. I know that our elected officials at the federal level, it is very important to them. I know that they are working hard and having conversations about what can be done. But again, they, as powerful as they are still, one of, several hundred in D.C. that they've got to deal with. So, we're going to continue to advocate for a program that works and that people can afford. But at the end of the day, it's got to be a federal solution, not a state.
One more on this one before we move on to a different topic. And our insurance commissioner, Tim Temple's our guest right now. At a time like this, with the private insurance policies or with the private insurance with the companies offering private insurance policies, would it behoove them to kind of sweep in and grab as many policies as they could right now? Or are we looking like hotel rooms on St. Charles for Mardi Gras Day?
No, I think that you have look, and there have been private flood companies that have started to message, to advertise, to market that they are an option. And I've seen, I've heard people give me their personal examples where the private flood policies were substantially less than NFIP. Probably there's going to be scenarios where private flood is more than NFIP. Mm-hmm. But I do think that you will see marketing pushes on that. And again, that's where it's important to contact your agent. they will have access to these private flood companies that will go out and let agents know that they can get they can obtain quotes through them. But I do think you'll see a surge of policies on the private side.
We got Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple in with us. I got to pivot a little bit here because it is still hurricane season. I know it was projected to be an above average hurricane season. We're on Melissa, so we made it midway through the alphabet, but we've yet to see anything touch mainland U.S.
Yeah, look, I mean, part of the role of Commissioner of Insurance they don't tell you about is you have to become an amateur meteorologist.
Mm-hmm.
We are still in an active hurricane season, which means it can be dangerous. All it takes is one storm. The good news, if you want to look at it, is we are past the peak hurricane season, portion of the season, but we are still in an active hurricane season. October, usually you see storms form, closer to closer to the Gulf, the upper Caribbean, I guess they call it.
Yeah.
So that creates less notice for storm development, but that's also offset, Brian, by the fact that we're now in the part of the year where we start to see colder or stronger cold fronts move through. And when those comes through, we all know those tend to push storms back off to the east. So, there's a little bit of give and take there. But I do need to remind, your listeners, October, is still a dangerous month. I mean, back in 2020, we had Delta and Zeta. We've had Superstorm Sandy up in New York was, 2012. And you heard Hurricane, I think it was Michael in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Milton last year in Florida, I'm thinking about that now. That was an October storm. So October can still be a very active and dangerous season. Don't let your guard down. We're going to keep monitoring it, but we're not out of the woods yet.
Well, and we're predicted to go into a La Nina before the hurricane season, if I have this right, and I'm just as amateur of a meteorologist as you are. But I believe we're predicted to go into a La Nina right just before the season's over with, which would, in a normal year, increase the likelihood of a storm. But I mean, getting to it that late in the season, I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's just one of these things where unfortunately it's Mother Nature. We just have to wait and watch and see what happens.
Yep. Meanwhile, how about some updates on homeowners rates when it comes to insurance?
Yeah, look, we are still continuing to see rates come down. Companies continue to take less increase. And look, Brian, I mean, I hear it. I did a radio program. I'm trying to think, was it earlier this week? No, last week. I'm sorry, at the end of last week, and the radio host was telling me that he said, Tim. This is a well-known guy down in the New Orleans area. He said, every time I go out, I go shopping, I'm out in the public, somebody comes up and talks to me about insurance. And he said, I'm hearing story after story now where people are seeing premiums come down. Now, that doesn't mean everybody, right? I get that. But people are starting to see that, whether they're renewing with their existing carrier or more often they're switching carriers. And when you're switching carriers, look, that insurance company knows that if they want your business, that they're going to have a competitive pricing, which to me as a consumer means a lower premium than what I'm paying.
Right.
So I encourage, we always talk about it. We say it, we can't say it enough. Shop your insurance. But everybody, I'm sure you like the company you're with. They may give you good customer service. They may, you may like, the person you have talked to on the phone. But shop your insurance. It's worth your time and effort to get people to get quotes. Ask your insurance agent to how many quotes they can get for you, and take a look at that. It does make a difference. The coverage is going to be almost. You make sure the coverage is identical or as close to identical as you can get. But look at the premiums. There are options out there. People are seeing rates come down.
Look, I'm living proof of this one. My rate got knocked down by more than half just by shopping around. Pretty incredible. That being said, we got 2 minutes to go with Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple. We cover homeowners. We haven't covered auto yet. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, and I think last time I was on your program, we had mentioned that a Louisiana domiciled company, Farm Bureau, had recently filed for a 11.8% decrease on private passenger auto. Now, that's a statewide average, so it doesn't mean every policy is going to see 11.8%. Some will see more, some will see less. That's a statewide average, but that's going to impact 80 100,000 vehicles in the state of Louisiana.
Okay.
I mean, that's a good sign. And look, and the reason the company said that they took that rate decrease were for two reasons. One was that the losses that they had forecast did not come in as expected. They came in lower.
Right.
And in a free market, what happens is when if the losses, if their expenses didn't come in as anticipated, then that allows them to lower their premium for the next year on a go forward basis. The other thing they attributed that to was that because Louisiana took some steps toward legal reform, they were willing to give some credit for the legal reform that was taken, which demonstrates reform works. So, I'm very thankful that they leaned into the reform that we did with regards to some premium relief for their policyholders. I anticipate and expect you will see other companies do the same thing. The legislature took some big, bold steps, big actions, and they passed it. It was signed by the governor, and I expect the industry to respond accordingly. And this company was the first one to do that. So I think more of that to come.
Yeah, and that's just that's more of a good faith gesture, showing that if we're working in the right direction, they should too. Wait till things really take hold of the work.
It is, and one thing we need to point out, that's private passenger auto. The one thing I have not seen any change in the market in a positive way, I've seen it in a negative way, meaning we continue to see increases filed, is in the commercial auto space, commercial trucking space. That sector is still, it's not getting better. Yeah. And earlier this week, I was just talking to a person that's in the trucking industry, and they showed me an example of, I think it was 6 individual companies that had noticed to them that they were either selling vehicles or idling their trucks because they can't afford the commercial auto insurance for their vehicles.
That's not good for
that
business.
Impacts our state economy. That impacts people's jobs, families. We have got to continue to push reform that is focused and targeted on commercial trucking, because those are the men and women that make products move around our state and around our country. And we have got to continue to work on legal reform, insurance reform, whatever reform you want to call it. But we've got to help reduce the losses in that sector so that the premiums can come down when those losses come down.
He is Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple. We always appreciate the time, sir. Safe travels.
Thanks for the opportunity, Brian. Talk to you again soon.
Yep, we'll talk soon. We ran long right there. Here comes local news, traffic, weather. We check in with Janet Simmons from Breck next. Hello, good morning. Sorry for the change of the lighting. We're trying to make it more effective on video, and it appears to be working, but at the same time there's a lot of shadows. So it's a work in progress. But I appreciate you bearing with us.
That's terrible.
Left her house. It took her an hour.
When is this? Oh yeah, they did. They shut down 2 lanes. It was, yeah. It took like 4 hours to reopen, maybe more than that. All right, what are we talking about today?
Let's talk about security a little bit because that's something that we've been working on, and of course all the Halloween events that are coming up through at the zoo and
I've got a,
the rapid response ticketing system, how that's going. And then we're focusing on partnerships and MOUs and CBAs that we have. We're really diving into those and looking at whether or not they're equitable or not. A lot of them have been skewed towards where Breck is losing lots of money.
really? Okay. See, that's the kind of stuff that people don't know and they don't understand. They're just like, why does Breck never have money? Well, there's answers for that.
Oh, you might want to talk about the state ethics laws and elected officials.
Oh, how about I just put that on a T for you and let you take that wherever you want to go? All right. 737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're going to pivot over from insurance to recreation. It's time to talk with Janet Simmons. She heads up Breck and joins us now. Welcome back. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great, except for the traffic. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, it's rough out there.
Oh my gosh, it's awful.
It's well, so they're cleaning it. You coming in on 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I came actually from Breck, so
Okay.
I came down back streets.
Okay.
North.
Oh, well, from Florida Boulevard?
Yeah, it
Okay.
wasn't bad coming down here,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
getting
yeah.
to Breck this morning was horrible.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yep.
We've got a lot of ground to cover this morning, and I want to start off with Breck Parks, traditionally open sun up to sundown, right? The
Right.
parks themselves.
Right.
We're at the time of the year where the sun goes down a little bit earlier.
Sure.
So is it appropriate to ask about, like, what y'all are doing about security? Where,
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, it gets darker faster, blah,
Right.
blah, blah,
So a lot of people are worried about security for our Breck Parks, and we've had a lot of comments from just patrons that want us to take care of that. So what we're doing, how we're addressing that is this. We were going to work with one of the state contract companies that would provide some security towers for us. And we looked at the price of each one of those security towers and how much it was going to cost for us to have monitoring of those towers, doing it externally. And we saw it was exorbitant pricing. And so we decided, well, why don't we do it ourselves? So our in-house IT, they're going to be doing the actually building of the towers. And we're building 10 towers that we're going to be placing randomly at parks based on the crime statistics that we see.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the bigger parks. Highland Park is one that we've talked about multiple times. Of course, Howell Park is another. And then if you start thinking about the other parks around the parish, we're going to be placing those strategically to eliminate the crime problems that we're having there. And what's cool is that they're going to be on rollers, so our park rangers can actually go and move them from one park to another.
Oh, wow.
So as we solve an area and make sure that we reduce the crime for that area, then we can move it to another park. And then the other cool thing that we're doing is that we're setting up a security operations center on campus at headquarters. And so we'll have 4 people manning that at all times. And so anytime they'll be watching all of the parks, and anytime they see any kind of nefarious behavior, we will have the opportunity to talk them down and be able to have an open mic saying, hey, you know, what are you doing in the park, et cetera, which generally tends to cause people to flee.
Okay.
And then if there's something going on that we feel like we need to send out a drone, we're going to have that capability to do that too.
From headquarters?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I mean, this I hate to make the comparison, but it sounds like BRPD's real-time crime center.
Well,
it has some similarities of being able to see all the places all
Right.
at once and then distribute from one
so
spot.
BRPD, my understanding from listening to the mayor last night, they have a drone that has a wingspan of 14 feet. That's pretty cool. And it can get anywhere from downtown to anywhere in Baton Rouge within 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Okay.
Now I don't know that we're going to have a 14-foot drone, but we're going to have a similar capability. So.
But security-wise, I'm sure this is Baton Rouge. I'm sure there's been incidents, but like I've never not only not seen an incident, and maybe it's just the parks that I'm at, but I've not seen a scenario where I was worried either.
I think most of what you're not seeing is things that are going on during times that you're probably not at the park.
Yeah.
So if you say, for example, you might have some people that are hanging out at Howell Park at night when they shouldn't be there in their cars.
Right.
Or at Highland even.
Mhm.
We've got large, we talked about this last time I was on. We are the largest landowner in East Baton Rouge Parish.
Yeah.
And so some of the parks that we own are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, they are really big. And so what happens with a large piece of property is if you don't have somebody there monitoring it 24/7, then you've got people that are going to take advantage of that.
Right. And hopefully monitoring leads to deterrence, because if you don't have eyes on it, what's going to happen when there are no eyes? That's That's the magnet for it.
Right. And we're working
with
with each one of the cities individually to identify those parks that are, hotbed for crime, and making sure that we're addressing those. So, for example, in Zachary, Floniker Park is one that's kind of outside the city limits, but it still has soccer and, you have but it's a large piece of property, and it's prone to vandalism and whatnot. And so that's just a place that Mayor McDavid has identified for us in Zachary, for example.
Okay. We're talking with Janet Simmons, who heads up BREC. They've got a lot going on right now, and I'm loving these updates, by the way. It's so much information that, just the general stuff we just never knew about and would never ask about. You and I were talking during the break, and let's get into this right now.
Okay.
Y'all are kind of self-audit. Is self-audit the right word? For just going through everything with a fine-tooth comb.
Yes, I would say that's right.
Okay. The working through a number of the partnerships
Right.
that BREC has had over the years, and they kind of build up. They hit the back burner, and nobody's looking at them. But now that y'all are putting fresh eyes on things, are we going to start to see some changes?
We're diving into the partnerships and agreements, and it's amazing to me how many partnerships and agreements that we have that are outdated. So we might have still a relationship with an organization, but the last time we signed anything was in 2015, let's say.
Wow.
So we're going through with a fine-tooth comb, make sure that the partnerships and agreements are equitable in that BREC is not getting taken advantage of.
Right.
And a lot of those partnerships and agreements, that was happening. And so earlier this year, before I even got there was a renewal of getting out some policies, particularly with elected officials. So Corey was working on that before he left. It was policies and procedures to make sure that we were not breaking any state ethics laws to allow just giving things away, for example, to elected officials.
That's got to be tough to explore.
So we have a new elected official policy that is posted on the website. So anytime an elected official wants to use the property, they have to go through this procedure. And like I said, this was not something that I brought into the fold. It was already in process. We just finalized it once I took over.
When you say when you have an elected official wants to use a property, in what form, in what manner?
Well, they'll have events, for example, for Halloween. Let's say they'll use one of the parks and they'll show a movie for the constituents, and they'll provide refreshments and the movie itself. Movies are expensive. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah.
But to rent a movie to show at a park can be anywhere from $400 to $600 for one night.
Wow.
Yeah.
And who picks up that tab?
Well, we were.
All right.
But that's changing now because we're not supposed to, according to state ethics laws.
Has Breck always just fallen into this weird crease because Breck is Baton Rouge, but Breck runs through the state, but Breck y'all have your own
it's
board.
Very complex.
It's there's a lot of different areas for things to slip through the cracks.
Yep, I think, and a lot of that has happened with partnerships and agreements. So we're diving into every single one of those right now.
And this is heavy. This is over the course of a number of years that all these things build up. I mean, do we have any kind of estimate of how long, how arduous, how many man hours it's going to take to get all this done?
I don't know. I do know that in my calendar I have set aside every week 8 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Every week, 8 hours
Every week.
to work on partnerships and
that
development.
When you think about it like in a vacuum, when you think about it on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't feel like a big deal. But when you look at the history of Breck and how much can be built up over time, and it just hits the back burner and just gets ignored.
Well, think about it. That's 20% of my time.
Yeah.
That I'm spending just on partnerships and agreements.
Unbelievable stuff. We're talking with Janet Simmons for Breck. We're covering a lot of ground. I do want to save some time for the rapid response ticket system, which I believe has been open long enough to get an idea of, in what direction it's going. But I would be remiss if on this October 22nd, we didn't look at a little bit of Halloween.
Yeah. So lots of events going on throughout the parish. Of course, Boo at the Zoo is one of the big events that we have every year. Last weekend, according to our zoo director, Jim Fleshman, we had 4,000 people. I thought he said for the weekend. Somebody else told me, no, that was in a day. So 4,000 people going through the zoo in a day. That's pretty intense.
Very remarkable.
That's a lot. And also, this is kind of cool. Mike Raby, our own director of golf, is the PGA associate. Now, I don't know what his member of the year.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what the exact title is, but isn't that pretty cool?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very okay.
So we'll have to find out more exactly the title for that. But he was nominated as the PGA Guy of the Year.
Very nice.
So we're pretty proud of him.
Absolutely. One more Halloween event coming up on this Saturday, Independence Park, from noon to 3 at Independence Park will be the annual family Halloween event, Full Moon Fete, on Saturday, October 25th, noon to 3 at Independence Park. It's a free family event. Takes place in the parking lot in the surrounding area of over by Liberty Lagoon, correct?
And we will be there actually giving out candy.
Excellent. That's to be going on this Saturday, although it's from noon to 3, and you're calling it full moon.
You got
to get on somebody about that.
I don't make the date. I don't create the titles for these events. So,
all right, minute and a half to go. Tell me about rapid response. We're getting some more and more feedback here. How's it working? How's it playing out?
Yeah, that's been excellent. So we have had. I want to say I announced last night at the Goodwood Property Owners Association that we've had at least 700 tickets since September the 8th. So we launched it on September 8th. So that's a little bit less than 2 months. And we've had a response of closing those tickets of right at about 80%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking you for specific examples, but give me some, hypotheticals. How simple, how complex? What's being reported?
Wow, that's broad. Because it could be anything from a crack in the sidewalk to a broken fence to a course like a disc golf course that's not being properly maintained to a problem with a park attendant.
Okay.
or trash, or
Yeah.
it's very, very broad.
Well, and in this is what we talked about last time is in triaging these things, y'all have been it's a whole new world of it's a whole new world of problem solving.
Right.
But the thing is it's in real time.
Right.
So y'all are getting to write the script as you go.
And it's funny. Tell people, I say, put my name inside your rapid ticket response system, because it tends to get people get there faster to it if you put my name in there. So now everybody's going to have my name in it.
Awesome.
Janet told me.
Hey, you know what? And you just said that on the air, so
I
all the
know.
tickets right now are gonna be tagged with your name.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. She is Janet Simmons with Breck. I always appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are coming up on we're right at 7:50 right now. We're gonna take a quick break here in about 20 seconds. Come back. We'll check traffic on the back end. When we come back, we are going to let's talk Bessie. That's coming up next on Talk 107.3 FM. Don't forget, next hour we talk Thrive EBR with Dr. James Gilmore, and Fox News' Brett Baier has a new book out. We'll talk with him at 8:40. Right now, as I see the clock rolling. I see JP's got the countdown going. Let's take that quick break. We're coming back next on Talk 107.3 FM. Awesome stuff.
Counting seconds the other day for some reason. I don't know why. And I was like, how good are my second counting? I'm 5 seconds off of a 30-second count. So I'm like, well, I gotta figure that. I'm too slow. I gotta be a little faster.
My problem is having an accurate time makes me slower in real life. Like, for example, kill my mic, please. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. ABC News coming up in about 4.5 minutes from right now. Hey, don't forget, LSU fans, it's the final football Friday of the season. This Friday, October 24th at Lod Cook. Join Gordy Rush, Hunt Palmer, and Matt Moscona with LSU legends like Lamine Barrow and Craig Stelz and more. Great food, big names at Tiger Pride. Tickets and tables are available, or they're on sale now at lsualumni.org. So much. That segment with Janet gets faster and faster every time. She's going to be tired at the end of the day. She is just slamming through, cleaning up over there, and doing a really good job of it. We're going to talk Bessie here in just a second, but I do need to remind you about the folks over at Neurojust, neurojust.com. If you're battling with anxiety or depression, you know how it feels, right? You know that between your ears, that real estate between your ears is nothing but choppy seas right now. Well, if you want to calm those seas and traditional sit-down therapy hasn't been right for you, if you want to calm those seas and you don't like the side effects or the way you feel when you take prescription drugs, give TMS a try. What is TMS? I'm glad you asked. Transcranial magnetic stimulation. This is basically magnetic pulses that are intended to calm the mood regulators within your brain. It's FDA approved. It's sweeping the nation. It's non-invasive. There are no side effects, and Neurojust specializes in this. Learn more at neurojust.com, Neurojust, neurojust.com. Bessie, and you heard this from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network at the bottom of the hour. Bessie has created an AI committee. That's artificial intelligence, not Allen Iverson. This AI committee is a working group of education, technology, business, and policy leaders. They're going to look at how to expand AI integration into Louisiana classrooms and workforce development programs. Dr. Jim Henderson up at Louisiana Tech, he's their president up at Louisiana Tech. He chairs the new committee. It has been forever since we've had Dr. Henderson on the show. I miss that guy so much. He used to head up the entire UL system before deciding he really liked his grandkids. So Dr. Henderson says they want to see how AI can help enhance teaching and empower students.
Essential to learning is development of critical thinking skills, and AI allows you to do that. So AI can reduce some of the tasks associated with learning. It can't remove the learning itself, and it allows us then to focus on those high-level things.
Now, one of the major goals along the way is to determine how Louisiana schools can prepare students for an AI-driven economy.
Is to extend this beyond the classroom and ensure that families have a level of comfort with something that, regardless of your opinion of it, is here, and it's going to impact everybody's life.
Yeah, and what's the tagline been? If you don't use it, you're going to lose to it. That's where we're at right now. And we've talked with Ronnie Morris about this from Bessie on a number of occasions, probably due to get him back on again as this committee is being formed and getting out there. Henderson says this committee will recommend an AI literacy framework for educators, students, and system leaders as well.
AI literacy is understanding what's the terminology around AI? What do these things mean? What do the prompts look like? And how do different prompts result in different outcomes?
It's just staying out in front. It's that simple. It's just staying out in front. And I'm glad Bessie's tackling this. I know we've talked with Dr. Brumley about it before, so seeing those two work side by side is a good thing. Don't forget, coming up October 28th, Supply Chain Baton Rouge, Supply Chain BR 2025. This is the fifth installment of Supply Chain Baton Rouge. If you work in logistics, you need to be at this. It's at the Crown Plaza. Go to Eventbrite and then look up Supply Chain Baton Rouge. That's where you're going to find your tickets. Breakfast is included, lunch is included, after party at Tio Javi's is included. But in between all that is the latest and greatest info on logistics, on the supply chain, everything you need to know. Look it up at Eventbrite, Supply Chain Baton Rouge. All right, yeah, there needs to be more lighting because Janet was not visible. It was. Yeah, but like I don't know how to. There's a lot of shadows as well. It's we're somewhere, but we're not perfect yet. I just hate eating up their time with all this shit. Is my mic off? Oh. 806 Talk 1073 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along hour 3 coming your way right now live from the 180 Pros studio. Brian here with you, JP producing. Starting off your third hour, is this right? Did we drop down by 1 degree? Start off your third hour at 62 in downtown Baton Rouge. Busy hour this hour. Zach Kilshaw from, he's a consultant over there at the mayor's office, and Dr. James Gilmore going to join us in our next segment. We're talking Thrive EBR, but I wanted to, I called in this interview for a very specific purpose. Dr. Gilmore represents, is going to be here as a representative of both the library and the Council on Aging. So I want to hear from stakeholders, like those who decided to up and get in the game and say EBR needs to be able to share in the money in order to keep everything afloat. I want to hear from those who have skin in the game that on the one hand, they're going to lose some dollars over this individually because it's going to the greater good. But on the other hand, got to vote yes, or else the whole millage goes away because this is nothing but a tax renewal. It's just, we can't be reminded enough. This is not a new tax. This is not a new tax. Oh, by the way, this is not a new tax. But I've got a bigger picture thing that I'm kind of developing over here. And that is, are we starting to see a Baton Rouge where undedicated dollars are more valuable to the city parish than dedicated dollars? So we're talking with Zach and Dr. Gilmore in our next segment. Right now, though, we've got, Fox News' Brett Baier. Oh, by the way, Fox News' Brett Baier at 8:40. Right now, this day in history. Bam, 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 bam. All right, JP.
All right.
What do we got?
Well, 1879, Thomas Edison perfects the carbonized light bulb.
Really?
So the light bulb today.
Light bulb today.
1906.
There's a level of irony there.
Exactly. That's why I had to start there.
If you're watching on Facebook Live.
It's like, oh, there are light bulbs. 1906, awesome. Henry Ford becomes president of the Ford Motor Company.
Hey, good for him.
This is really fascinating.
Who saw that coming?
Yeah.
The president of Ford was to be named
elect
Ford.
Myself.
Yeah.
In 1926, boxer J. Gordon Whitehead sucker punches magician Harry Houdini in the stomach in his dressing room at the Princess Theater in Montreal. The attack started or helped cause the appendicitis that would take Houdini's life 9 days later.
No escaping that one.
Ooh, no. Man. 1962.
I come and I go.
Beginning of the Cuban Missile Crisis, where U.S. President John F. Kennedy makes a live television address about Soviet missile bases in Cuba.
Okay.
Imposes a naval blockade.
Yep, I remember that. I mean, I remember reading about that, learning about it. I wasn't there for it.
Right. I was going to say, wait.
No, I was born a good, 16 years later?
Yeah. Music history here. 1990, Pearl Jam played their first ever concert when they appeared on the off-ramp in Seattle.
Oh.
They appeared a decade later, celebrating the 10th anniversary of that performance at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas.
I like saying Pearl Jam's overrated.
A little bit.
No, I don't believe they're overrated. I believe they're properly rated. I just like seeing Pearl Jam fans lose their minds.
Of course. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What's up with Sinead O'Connor in 1999?
What is up with Sinead O'Connor?
In 1999, it was reported that Sinead O'Connor was attempting to buy the church where she was ordained into a Catholic sisterhood.
Love it.
The church was on the market for £70, which equates to about $93,000.
Okay.
In U.S. currency. Yeah, wasn't it like a couple years before that? She made a big scene on SNL.
Yeah, she ripped up a picture of the Pope.
But then, I don't know. What a fascinating character, should I say.
Sinead O'Connor?
Yeah. Man, 2018, a pipe bomb is sent to George Soros' New York home address, the first Democrat in a series to receive pipe bombs.
Ooh,
man. That happened today. Anything else on your end?
No.
Stacked on birthdays, huh?
Actually, no. Hang on. This day in 2011. This day in 2011, Bobby Jindal was reelected to governor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Birthdays here. Jeff Goldblum today.
This day in 2010.
Oh, snap. You got another one.
Yeah, WikiLeaks, website founded by Julian Assange that functioned as a clearinghouse for classified and otherwise privileged information, released thousands of U.S. documents relating to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. It was the big WikiLeaks dump today.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right, birthdays, what you got?
Christopher Lloyd.
Oh.
Along with Jeff Goldblum, as I mentioned.
Scott.
Bob Odenkirk today. Love some Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah. Better Call Saul.
Yep, Better Call Saul.
Saul good,
Nobody.
man.
Have you ever seen that movie? Nobody?
No, but
It's
I
so
want
good.
to.
It's good.
Yeah.
You would enjoy it.
It doesn't, the promos don't look believable in the slightest.
Yeah. We can get more into that.
But I
later,
like Bob Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk, man. Good stuff. Hey, Shaggy today. Shaggy.
The
Shaggy.
entertainer
stuff
Shaggy,
from
not the stoner that would roll with Scooby Doo.
No, that's Scott Innes, right? And then Casey Kasem before him, of course. But, you know. Curly Howard as well today.
Hey, all right.
One of the Three Stooges. Moving on to deaths.
I got a couple of birthdays.
Oh, you got some birthdays
I got
there.
some birthdays
Okay.
here. How about Hungarian composer Franz Liszt?
Okay.
Yeah. Actress Joan Fontaine and New York Yankee Robinson Cano.
All right. Sounds good.
Former New York Yankee, sorry.
Former. Let's see. Deaths today. I've got a Cleveland Little.
Cleavon Little.
Cleavon
Little. That's a lot better. Okay, yeah.
Cleavon.
Wow. Okay, the sheriff from Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty much the biggest.
Also,
thing.
gangster Pretty Boy Floyd.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Oh, that guy was taken out today, right?
Yeah.
Oof. National Days. Medical Assistant Day. Do we want to go with that?
I think we can go with that one. That one sounds good.
Yep.
It sounds better than any kind of cobbler that would be out there.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wanted to add to it, I guess we could. I don't know, man. I'm looking through. There's a lot of garbage days today.
I know. I'm looking as well.
There's, we'll go with medical assistant because the next one in line is National Nut Day.
Saw that.
Yeah. Nuts are nutritional powerhouses. They are packed with heart-healthy fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. I don't care. They're good to just like eat almonds all day long.
That's it.
I can do that.
Chocolate covered.
Cashews are really good. National Nut Day. Okay. All right, we're at 8:14 to Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Before we take our quick break, got to remind you about Mathern's game day coming up. Game day coming up right there on LSU's campus. You'll find Mathern's in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. What you're getting when you get there is a full-service grocery store, and they are the only full-service grocery store on campus. So, forgot the charcoal? No problem. Ran out of cold beer? No problem. Wanted to refresh on anything else that you might need? They've got you covered. Oh, by the way, you don't regularly tailgate. You just bounce from tailgate to tailgate. They got the pop-up tents set out in front, right, where you could just stop off for a cold beer and a bowl of jambalaya. Take care of you on every home game. They're a full-service grocery store here for you every single day. But on game days, they definitely step it up over at Mathern's. Don't forget, they're also downtown on 3rd Street. They're in off of Highland Road at Kenilworth as the other two locations of Mathern's. But I'd be remiss if I didn't make sure that during a home game week, we remind you that Mathern's in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center is directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. Quick break. We're talking Thrive next.
Segue. I mean, I didn't know if Mathern's was your next. I'm like, hey, where can we get some good nuts? And then I figured.
Oh.
Yeah. But I was looking through.
Well, I was too busy not making a dirty joke.
I know.
Because
it was hard.
Well,
that's why I was like, medical assistant.
It's October 22nd, and it's National Nut Day. Coming up on November 1st is No Nut November.
Yeah.
Not the same thing.
All right. I'm going to adjust some lighting in here. You'll be on too?
I come and I go. I love me some Zulu people. That sounds right. So y'all two are here. So Charlie texted.
Yep.
He said, "What number am I calling in?" I said, "They got you today. You take the next one."
No, he called me to make sure. That was Courtney's been out, so there's just been a.
Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. It's time to talk Thrive. And yeah, I'm spending a lot of time on Thrive because it is important to Baton Rouge. And by my count. It's important to Baton Rouge. And coming up on November 16th, we all get to decide on it, and it's going to be 15th. That's 100% on me. I look at the notes. I think I see the notes. And then I try to do the notes by memory, and I botch it every time. Coming up on November 15th, we're going to have 3 propositions on the ballot. You're not going to see the word thrive on the ballot anywhere. You have 3 propositions on the ballot. And all 3 propositions are renewals for things that we've already said yes to. All 3 propositions are you got a renewal on the library, a renewal on the Council on Aging, and a renewal on mosquito abatement. So I want to visit this from every angle possible as we move forward, which is why today we've got Zach Kilshaw. He's a consultant over at the mayor's office, and we've got Dr. James Gilmore in with us as well. Welcome aboard, fellas. How y'all doing?
Life is great. Thank you for having us.
No, glad to have you on this morning. I appreciate you both coming in. Let's start with you, Dr. Gilmore. I want to just as an introduction to the audience of not just who you are, but what your stake is on, in connection with the library and the Council on Aging.
Well, thank you for having me here today. I represent Generations United PAC, and we are a group of individuals who are friends of both the library and the Council on Aging, and we decided to come together to create this PAC in order to advocate for yes votes on November the 15th. And so that's what we're doing. Because the Council on Aging is a quasi-public state agency, they are prevented from campaigning. And so Generations United PAC, we're here to advocate and encourage and inform and educate folks on why they need to go out and vote yes on November 15th. And so that's the role I'm playing.
Well, then let's dive right in. Why do folks need to go out and vote yes?
Well, first of all, the reason they need to go vote yes is because this is a tax renewal.
Right.
And one thing that I believe that all citizens of East Baton Rouge Parish should be proud of is the way the Council on Aging and the library has been managing their money.
Okay.
Because that's what matters most. If this was any other year, what folks would mostly be asking is, well, what have you done with our money in the past? And what do you plan to do with it in the future? And I am proud to say, and I think everyone knows based on the work they've seen, the Council on Aging and the library have been good stewards of the money, of their dollars, taxpayer dollars. They have tremendous amounts of programs and services that serve children to seniors. That's why we got the theme Generations United.
Okay.
And they have clean audits. And they need the renewal to continue the great work.
Well, and we find ourselves in a I don't want to say a unique situation, but definitely it's not an everyday situation where you have on the one hand good stewards of dollars, but you have on the other hand a city parish that is in need and a populace that is tapped out.
That is right.
Where we're at right now is take the same dollars that we've been voting for before, that we've said yes to many times, and just find better ways to use them.
Absolutely, and realize you're not taking all the dollars, and I don't even know if I want to use the word take. The Council on Aging and the library, they came together with the mayor in support of this in order to help out our city parish budget gaps and debt issues. So it was a negotiation. Our mayor came in early January, February, and sat with both organizations and talked about how can you all help our city parish government while also maintaining the great services you provided.
Right.
And that's why we're here.
And that's absolutely right. I just want to jump in real quick and say that these are the existing mill rates, and we're rededicating. So from the library, it's 11.1 mills, and we're rededicating 2.8. From the Council on Aging, it's 2.25 mills, and we're rededicating 0.25. And with mosquito abatement and rodent control, it's 1 mill, and we're rededicating 0.5 mills.
And mosquito abatement, we'll talk about it another time. But the library and the Council on Aging were the first two that were hands in the air.
Yes.
Hands in the air, saying let's find a better way to get everything done for everybody, because it doesn't do us any good to have world-class libraries if the first floor of that library is underwater. Right. It doesn't. If Huckleberry Finn is floating out of the front door, literally and on the page, then it doesn't do us a whole lot of good. And the same is true of the Council on Aging.
Absolutely.
Is we got to be able to be sure that the people that the Council on Aging serves are living in a safe neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So all these things come together. You mentioned and we're going to walk a lot of different paths over the next 7 minutes.
Okay.
So,
no problem.
But I would be remiss if I didn't have you in here and at least talk a little bit about some of the stories in the past about the Council on Aging. because I don't know that the numbers and the reputation follow the same path there.
Right.
The numbers follow, let's say, a better path than some of the news accountings in the past.
Yeah. So in the past, yes, the Council on Aging has made the headlines. But what didn't make the headlines was that through all of those investigations, okay, and we're talking about 5, 6, 7, maybe more investigation. We're talking about maybe 2 years of investigations from the Attorney General to the Ethics Department. There were no findings.
Right.
There were 0 findings of wrongdoing. Were there recommendations to do things better and more transparent? Yes. But as it relates to findings of wrongdoing, there wasn't any. Now, of course, that didn't make the headlines.
Well, no.
But that didn't make the headlines. And 2 years later, we were pooped and tired of showing that nothing and proving that nothing was done wrong, that we didn't have time to spread the news. We had to get back to the business of helping seniors. But no findings in all of those investigations.
I mean, look, everything's a sports reference for me, right? Like, no, you get back up on the court and you continue playing the game.
Absolutely.
You don't celebrate the dunk.
That's right. I like that.
We got Dr. James Gilmore and Zach Kilshawn with us talking about Thrive EBR. Let's go over to the library side real quick. I talk about and this is, I hope this isn't too deep in the weeds type of a question here, but how do you look at a budget with the 11.1 mils and figure out the exact number that can be shared?
You can go. I can take part of that.
Sure. So Mary really came to us and said that, this is what we can, dedicate back into the general fund that could help us. Her famous quote is that if the city parish is a body and the library is the heart, and we have, an arm and a leg about to be amputated, it would be wrong of us not to do our due diligence to try to support the body that feeds the heart. Right?
Okay.
So she was forthright about the amount that could be rededicated, and that's how that number was come to. I'd have to kick it back over to James,
and he's absolutely right. I mean, everybody knows Mary Stein is a pretty smart woman, and the team that we have at the library are very smart people, and so they came back looking at their surplus, looking at their strategic plan, because they did have and they currently it exists, a strategic plan, and they came back with numbers that they thought they could still provide great quality services that while also helping the mayor and the city parish out. In fact, what they did in all of their research to make these determinations is they looked at what we as citizens use the most and what we enjoy the most, such as Libby and other types of online e-checkout opportunities. And they said, we won't be cutting those types of things. But those things where they could cut costs and save in order to rededicate dollars, they made that decision. And the same with the Council on Aging. The Council on Aging has said over and over again to seniors, you won't even feel the effect of us allocating 0.25 to the city parish government.
Right.
We will still be able to maintain our services and programs, and you won't even be able to feel the effects of that. And so both organizations did their research, looked at their budgets. It wasn't an overnight thing now. This is weeks of working and talking with the mayor's office and his team. And that's where we are now. And we all feel good about it. We believe that this is an opportunity to help our city, parish government, while continuing to serve our citizens.
Now, I know this is I told y'all we'd be talking about Thrive specifically, but I can't separate the fact that this is a two-part conversation. Yes, helping Thrive EBR is a big part of the conversation, but there are deliverables from the library and the Council on Aging individually that, at the end of the day, this is a renewal for those entities. Yes. Can we spend just a minute to talk about the library and the Council on Aging's deliverables, which y'all already provide for the parish?
Well, I could go on and on, but let me just start.
You have 2.5 minutes.
Okay. We provide Meals on Wheels, and everyone knows about that. And in the past 9 years, we've provided over 8 million meals to seniors in our parish. And that's both hot meals that are served at 26 senior centers, as well as cold meals that are delivered to the homes of those seniors who can't leave. And talking about the senior centers, when we got the initial tax millage, we only had 10 senior centers. Now we have 26, and they are spread all across the parish. So they're not concentrated in one area. I mean, we're talking about from Antioch to Scotlandville, okay, where we have senior centers. When you look at the housing, 114 units of senior housing has been built. Okay, so that's the Council on Aging. Now with the library, we're talking about tens of thousands of people who walk through those doors every day and check out books and participated in free activities. Not to mention those of us who are so happy now we don't even have to walk into the library. You can access library resources from home. Okay, and so these are the library and the Council on Aging have done great things with their dollars, and we are excited to be able to help the city and the mayor's office.
And Brian, I just want to add one thing. It's really important for the public to know that this is a renewal for 2026 for the library's operating budget.
Right.
It's
That's
almost
well, yeah.
100%.
Well, and that's why I
of their
redirected.
operating
That's
budget.
why I redirected the conversation
Right.
there, was because at the end of the day, the library's budget's on the line.
And look, I want to give a shout out to Mosquito Abatement and Rodent Control as well. They are a partner in this. I know this segment we're focusing right now on the library and Council on Aging, but they're a big part of this too. For Council on Aging and for Mosquito Abatement and Rodent Control, this is their 2027 renewal.
Okay.
So it's really important to understand that they're coming a year in advance to get their renewal, which is very common. The library decided to align it with the Thrive Initiative for their operating budget.
Yeah. So if this doesn't, for the library, if this doesn't pass on November the 15th, they'll receive dollars in January of 2026, but they will not receive any new revenue, and then therefore we will have to figure out something, because in 2027 there won't be any new revenue.
Well, you'd have to come back to the ballot.
Right. And by the way, the library doesn't get any, and neither does the city parish with Thrive EBR.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
3 propositions on your November 15th ballot. We're asking you to vote yes on all 3. Dr. Gilmore, Zach, thank you all so much.
Absolutely.
Here's
Thank you so
news.
much, Brian.
ABC. Yeah, I ran 7 seconds over. That was me. I think so.
No,
Kill. 836 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Fox News' Brett Baier's got a new book out. He's going to join us 5 minutes from right now to talk about it. The book is called To Rescue the American Spirit, Teddy Roosevelt and the Rise of a Superpower. And it is unbelievable how many parallels there are between Teddy Roosevelt's America and where we are right now in America. We're talking everything from reform to polarization to personalities in the places where they currently are. It's a lot. It's a lot to cover, and I really, really appreciate Brett Baier's perspective on putting pen to paper here. Before we get to that, though, don't forget, whether it's Baton Rouge blunders or DC drama, Moon has got the hot takes and hometown humor to keep everyone laughing and thinking. No fluff, no filter, just Moon being Moon. Listen and subscribe to the Moon Griffon podcast on all your favorite platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. You can also catch every episode at talk1073.com. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the episode from Monday is an absolute bare-knuckle brawl between Moon and the governor. So you don't want to miss that. All right, before we get you to Brett Baier, heard this story in our from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network, and I can't let go of it. The amount of money Americans spend on Halloween is getting pretty spooky, says Louisiana Radio Network. Catherine Cullen with the National Retail Federation says this year's spending will make mincemeat out of last year's record of $12.2 billion.
Total Halloween spending is anticipated to reach a record $13.1 billion this year.
$13.1 billion spent on Halloween. $13.1 billion. Like, it's hard to believe that, like, anytime someone talks about a recession, anytime someone talks about an economic downturn, I mean, hard times have flexible definitions, right? $13.1 billion to have, skeletons in your front yard and the black light on the spider web. And, like, this is where we're at. And meanwhile, we're told that, like, we're battling inflation all the time. And, oh, my gosh, you can't afford the price of eggs. But we're spending $13.1 billion on Halloween. Cullen says the most popular Halloween purchase is candy, which, by the way, is going to be higher this year. That's legit due to tariffs. The countries that produce cocoa are getting hit with tariffs. Price of cocoa goes up, price of chocolate goes up. Price of chocolate goes up, price of Halloween goes up. Americans are going to spend almost $4 billion on Halloween, on candy alone. Now, while not as many people will be buying costumes, the money spent on costumes will exceed that spent on candy. By the way, the best part is with the costumes, you don't have the negative effects. All that sugar, right?
Spending on costumes alone is expected to total $4.3 billion, a 13% increase from last year.
Can I go all back in my day real quick? Make your own costume. Can we not go Daniel LaRusso and Karate Kid real quick? You can't make yourself inside a shower, make a costume where you don't want to be seen. Can you not make a mummy costume? Can you not just do like a tight white T-shirt and blue jeans and be James Dean? No kid out there knows who James Dean is, but like, you see where I'm going with this. $4.3 billion on costumes alone. By the way, in all, Americans it's just big spending across the board.
Consumers are budgeting $114 on average for costumes, candy, decorations, and greeting cards. Almost $11 more per person than last year.
It's a lot. Such a lot. By the way, was Googling to find out who were the most popular costumes out there right now. And it depends on where you go to get your answer. Something called, and JP, I know you got to keep one eye on the phone because Brett Baier's going to be hopping on in just a second. Something called K-pop Demon Hunter is the rage.
That makes sense.
Okay. My son knows what that is.
Yep.
My son has mentioned it a few times, more than a few times. I kind of glaze over because I have no clue. Do we know what K-pop Demon Hunter? You're a dad, you know?
Yeah. It's basically just a cartoon, an anime style cartoon.
Okay. Where I guess they hunt demons. But I mean, give me the classic pirates. Give me the classic Dracula. Give me the classic, there are a number of costumes that are just absolutely classics that I would be more than happy to entertain. I tell you, a great costume? Slap on a mustache and some small glasses, and you become Teddy Roosevelt. Let's go to Halloween as Teddy Roosevelt. How about that? That's the best segue I got to bring on Fox News' Brett Baier, who's got a new book out called the new book out is called To Rescue the American Spirit. He's on with us now. Brett, how are you, man?
Hey, Brian, I like that costume.
The Teddy Roosevelt costume. I mean, it feels like it should be a go-to with kind of a resurgence of the American spirit. So talk to me a little bit about the book. What made you want to do this?
Teddy Roosevelt is this rich character. He just kind of jumps off the page. He's got amazing anecdotes. He's got this energy, enthusiasm, booming voice and expansive gestures. And so it's rich, right? Mm-hmm. But he's also at a crucial time as the turn of the century and trying to lead in this big, bold era. And this book takes a soda-straw look at his effort to make America a global leader, to make sure America is leading in the world and that the world knows that. It bounces back to the beginning of his life and how he gets to that point, but this focuses on his effort to solve a war that's developing between Russia and Japan. He brings the leaders to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. He does the logistics of the peace deal and eventually gets the Nobel Peace Prize for it. It's the first time America is in the global stage solving big things.
And it's that position, or that should say that transition from just nation to what would ultimately be superpower. And for some reason, we're seeing a lot of parallels today. Walk us through a few of the parallels.
Well, there is this sense that America is crucial in the world. I think President Trump and his administration are trying to prove that by getting involved in all kinds of peace negotiations between India and Pakistan, between Congo and Rwanda, between Armenia and Azerbaijan, between Israel and Hamas. There's still some questions about how that's all developing as of even today, and Ukraine and Russia. There's also this push to have strength in the world, and you saw that in the strike on the Iran nuclear facility. For Teddy Roosevelt, as things get tense with Japan, he decides to take the U.S. Navy, which is kind of a bunch of vessels that are painted gray. He repaints them all gleaming white and sends this armada of U.S. Navy ships around the world as a show of strength. And Congress says, what are we doing? Why are we paying for this? He eventually gets them to relent, and Congress gives them the money, but he sends them anyway. And it has the desired effect. It has the effect of peace through strength and showing America as a world power.
One of the great many historical examples of how peace through strength is a great way to lead. I mean, it's not necessarily, you flex and it's a deterrent, but you show resolve, and I think others want to be part of that.
Exactly. And, it's each. This is the sixth biography I've written. I've done Eisenhower and Reagan, FDR, Grant, Washington, and now Teddy Roosevelt. And each one of these presidents has some element of that in which, and obviously Reagan most of all, because he used the phrase a lot, peace through strength, and used it to essentially end the Cold War.
A lot of parallels between Ronald Reagan and Teddy Roosevelt, to be sure. Although I would argue, and just personal aside, Teddy Roosevelt is my favorite president. Every night I do a little preview video of the next show on Twitter, and behind me is a portrait of Teddy Roosevelt in my office.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's look all the way down to up to and including loving Blue Bloods, because Frank Reagan, Tom Selleck's character, looked up to Teddy Roosevelt as the first NYPD commissioner. So.
Yes, yeah. He was a tough guy.
No,
he took to the streets of New York and kind of shook things up. He was always a guy that stirred the pot and fought the establishment, and he definitely did that as New York police commissioner, as New York state lawmaker, as New York governor, to the point where the party says we're going to stick him as vice president because we want to stick him in a box and not have a troublemaker. And then McKinley gets assassinated in Buffalo, and Teddy Roosevelt becomes the youngest president at age 42.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. And what a diverse, such a well-rounded character as well. Because you've got the conservation aspect of it, the national park system. You've got the trust-busting aspect of it, and yet all at the same time, you just remained. I mean, I would argue by today's standards, very much a conservative.
He was a conservative, but he was a progressive. He believed in capitalism, but he believed in capitalism for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. He did have the trust busting. He filed 40 antitrust suits as president. It was the first president to intervene in a labor dispute, a coal mining strike in 1902. He felt like the little guy needed to be protected. He came up with the FDA for drugs and protecting food. He was a thoughtful guy that you could not pin down on every issue. And that was one of the things that made him so interesting.
Well, because it makes him human. And we so often today, we have our politicians in this, our elected officials in this category where we remove that aspect of them, where we remove that roundness of character from those who are in charge. And it leads to a lot of polarization.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I've tried to do with these books is, first of all, make them readable. So most importantly, young people could dig in and read it in a weekend on the beach. Mm-hmm. So it's a page turner. But two, to show all of these people, as humans who have ups and downs, who have positives and negatives, and who have loves and arguments. And they're humans.
Last one before I get you out of here, and thank you so much for hopping on board. Fox News' Brett Baier talking about to rescue the American spirit. Last one before I get you out of here. Is it up to us as the populace to ingest more of that to reduce the overall polarization? I feel like the more that we all understand that we're people, the better off we'll be.
100%. I mean, if you talk to any battling side, two sides, if you start by talking about how are your kids or what's school like or, how was vacation or something else, it usually diffuses a lot.
Yep.
And I have this thing on my show called Common Ground where I'm trying to bring Democrats and Republicans together to talk about what they're working on as opposed to what they're fighting about. And we're getting more and more people who are signing up every day to come on and do that. And I think that's a good blueprint for where we should go.
He is Fox News' Brett Baier. The book's called To Rescue the American Spirit, Teddy Roosevelt and the Rise of a Superpower. Appreciate your time, Brett. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We're coming up on 850 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to check your money now. We'll get you one more check of traffic. We'll close it out next. That was awesome. Okay, so two features today. Thrive. And Brett Baier's the other one. Just a simple headline for Brett Baier. Brett Baier, and his last name is Baier, and he's Brett with one T. Yeah. That's my fault. I had it on the rundown as two. I looked at it here. It's one. In fact, when I tweeted last night, it was one, and I should have known that. I should have told him, go check your fucking Twitter mentions, dude. You're tagged in this. When I mentioned my Twitter video. So, Brett Baier notes parallels between Teddy Roosevelt and today.
But yeah, sound off in the chat, guys. Like, what are you guys spending on Halloween costumes or anything like that? This year, Frankenstein's monster for me. The wife's gonna be the bride of Frankenstein.
My son's going to be Darth Vader, but it's going to be a makeshift, like a homemade costume.
Yeah.
We bought the Vader mask, bought a cloak with a hood.
That's what I'm talking about.
So instead of spending $100 on a Vader costume, we're spending $12 on a mask and $10 on a hood.
There you go.
And a T-shirt with the beep bop boop on the front.
Yeah.
What you say? Is it? I can. You're nothing but a silhouette right now. There you go. There's Scott. Silhouette. Scott. No. Got like a Hitchcock thing going on when you step forward.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we try to do like the the couples costumes every year. We were Fred and Wilma one year. Last year was I was Beetlejuice and Jamie was Lydia. Yeah. But I'll tell you a hack.
I'm told Zach was really low on his mic.
Man, he was all the way up too.
Yeah, I know.
He was all the way up.
It was up to him as well.
Yeah.
What can I say? As Fletch said, as Erwin M. Fletcher said in Fletch 2, pardon my bellicosity.
Yeah, I noticed he was kind of low. I'm like, man, it's always funny. Like, I always expect the volume to go up even more, even when it's touching the top. I'm like, can we like just give it a little more punch?
I gotta get somebody from LSU's game day team to talk about. In fact, I need to reserve a spot for that on Friday. Not on. This is for Facebook only. Finally, some music that goes along with the lighting. Yeah. Ooh, with a lady. 8:56 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. One segment to go from the 180 Pros studio. Before we hand off to Moon Griffon. Hey, don't forget FlyBTR, flybtr.com. Baton Rouge Metro Airport's home base online is flybtr.com. They've got a direct flight to the Alabama game. I know. I should probably hold off on that until Monday. We'll wait to tell you about the direct flight for the Alabama game. It goes into Birmingham on Friday. You come home on Sunday. They set it up just for the Alabama game. Let's get out there and beat Texas A&M before we can look forward to flying again. That's all right. How about this then? Direct flight to Washington, D.C. leaves every morning in the 7 o'clock hour. In fact, I'm just a couple months away from taking that flight myself again. As we're starting to look forward to Washington Mardi Gras. Yes, we're already starting to look forward to Washington Mardi Gras. FlyBTR.com. I love the airport that we have in our own backyard. TSA is super easy, borderline pleasant experience with TSA. You don't get that all the way down the road. Parking, unbelievably simple. In fact, it's even better because you don't even have to park. Just Uber to the airport. I mean, you don't have to bum a ride off somebody. Hey, can you come get me before the sun comes up? Like, just Uber to the airport. You can't Uber all the way down to the other place. FlyBTR.com. They've got so many options that are available, and I encourage you, when you check them out, take into account the entire experience, not just the ticket price, the entire experience. FlyBTR.com. I don't know if we really want to dive into another full-on topic right here or just talk about the fact that I'm setting myself up for absolute heartbreak once again. I'm setting myself up for the Pelicans to come through and destroy me once again. You don't get to control who you love. You love who you love, and it's more true in sports than anything else. And the Pelicans tip off their season tonight. They're at the Memphis Grizzlies, 7 p.m. tip-off. You'll hear it on our sister station, 104.5 ESPN. Todd Graffinini will be on the call. Fresh new roster for the Pels. 10 new guys, I should say. A lot of names you haven't heard of before. And one of the names that you've heard of before, but the guy you've never seen before, is Zion Williamson. He has completely remade himself. He has finally gotten to the point that we've all been looking for from him, where he's not exploding sneakers. He's healthier, he's slimmer, looks amazing, and I see the work that he put in the off season, and you pair him up with Missy, and you pair him up with Trey Murphy, you pair him up with DeJounte Murray. You look at the Pelicans roster up and down, Grand Theft Alvarado, I'm really looking forward to this season. So hopefully starting tonight, it's not heartbreak over on our sister station 104.5. All right, we got to get out of here. Moon's next. All right, guys. Good, the bad, and the ugly. What did you all think of the new lighting? I'll stick around for just a minute to get some comments on that. Because it's just a weird spot. We're trying our level best. We're trying new things. And we want to make it all work. But the problem with making it all work is, what's going to work for me might not necessarily work for the person sitting next to me. So give me your feedback. Give me your takeaways. And while I'm waiting on those takeaways for just a quick second, let me, what do we have coming up tomorrow? I've completely forgotten what's on the show tomorrow. Bad host. Bad host did a bad job of teasing. I know coming up soon, we're going to have David Scott from Court TV. I should really have him on while Franz is out of the country. There's a show on Court TV called Interview with a Killer, which I've talked to David Scott before. We've talked about the show before. And it's season 3 is coming up. And I really look forward to this conversation because this is the kind of insight that you're not going to get anywhere else. You're sitting down and you're talking with someone who has murdered somebody, probably multiple people. So what's the mindset of the person who has that sit down? And what do they get out of it? Like what kind of content can you expect from it? So I'm actually recording that interview half an hour from right now. He talks with born-again killer Adam Williams, Rachel Wade, Julius Mullins, Amber Halford, and Benjamin Delgadillo. So you can Google any of those names and you're going to find a remarkable, a lot of really bad history. So we're looking forward to it. Before we get out of here, though, let me just check one more time, see if anybody has shared their thoughts. Keep the lights on. If you want them to go to the studio, somebody has to spend the money. We're trying to avoid that. Couldn't see the guests. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to keep working, y'all. Like I said, I appreciate you sticking with us through a work in progress. But It will evolve. It will evolve. All right. We got to go. We'll see you later.